Recording in progress.
Okay. All right, it is 7:01. Go ahead and call this meeting to order. We're in the Sheridan City Council chambers. Yvonne, can you call roll?
Yes. George.
Here.
Acup. Here. Buckles.
Present.
McElroy.
Here.
Hebert. Here. Hodgins. Here. Houston.
Present. All right, let's go ahead and stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I think we're going to need to. Okay. Well, my bad. Okay. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to discuss appointing Kai Cotton to intern city manager. I don't know how he feels about it. I'd like to talk to him about it.
Okay. I think Tyler was maybe thinking we were going to discuss all of that during the city manager report. Is that appropriate, or Tyler, is that? So during now,
or we can add it to new business. I guess it'll end up being the same place.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Okay, well, before I read all these public comment forms, I'm gonna do something. So when my grandfather was done with city council, after he'd served some 20 years, he got a plaque, and I thought it'd be appropriate to give Roxy. And this was Yvonne's idea. Nice. All right. Well, hopefully you can look at that and remember everything you got done. 17 years Sheridan Council. We'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, so I've got a couple here. So Yvonne, are some of these just emails that somebody wants to speak, or did they provide a
Two of them were forms that were submitted online that came in at, before 3 o'clock today, and then the rest of them are all during the audience that they filled out.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll do the physical forms first. Okay. So.
And Mr. S says he emailed his in, but he is here in the audience.
Okay. Okay. All right. So first, I'll go with Mary Ann.
Terrific. Well, I'm pretty sure most of you know that I am all in favor of public information getting out to the public. And so I think sometimes it takes more than one way to do that. I have spent more than 30 years in print advertising, but I know that in this day and age, video journalism is also a very important part of life now. So, and I think the public has the right to public information. I think this council aims to provide that information concerning the council and the city of Sheridan quickly, accurately, and fairly. And so I think, well, Joe Neely signed an agreement acknowledging that he would lose his right to attend executive sessions if he violated any of the rules pertaining to them. He's shaking his head yes. So to my knowledge, Joe has not violated any of these requirements, and so I don't know why he wouldn't be welcome to continue. Protecting sensitive information is important, I know that, and there's a lot of protected information, but I believe Joe should be permitted to attend executive sessions for several reasons, even if he's not allowed to record or report on the information. Allowing journalists to observe these sessions can provide valuable insights into the decision-making process with the, and with the council's reasoning. The contest can lead to more informed reporting on various other topics that are public information. So, in general, at regular council meetings, different mediums provide various ways to present information, catering to audience preferences and allowing for broader outreach among Sheridan citizens. Video reporting, for instance, can often convey messages to audiences more quickly than print journalism, which could, in some certain situations, be pretty important. So in the age of widespread misinformation, video reporting can also play an important role in helping the public fact check information and gain accurate context. By granting Joe Neely and other video journalists equal access to information, we can utilize the power of video journalism to help combat misinformation. All in all, equitable access to information helps promote fairness, accountability, and the overall ability of the Sheridan people to be more informed about our city government. As the Sheridan City Council, you play a crucial role in ensuring that public information is available, like I said, quickly, accurately, fairly. Thank you.
Thank you. Normally we're gonna have a problem with people going over 3 minutes, but I just realized normally that's city manager thing, so I can do that. Okay. Okay, next we have Matt Lux.
Hi, I'm Matt Lux. I'm here to speak in favor of what Joe does. This seems all started the night that Joe videoed the 2 police officers inside of the library. Not sure how much people know, but that is that's protected for First Amendment auditors. You can video inside of a public building, you can video outside of the public. So what I don't understand is why a certain council member has taken it upon themselves to attack what Joe has done, calling him illegitimate journalist, also accused him of hindering an investigation, all by taking video outside of the library. The cops did nothing. I mean, everybody's seen the video, nothing happened. Then when Denny with his receipts, Joe got them, used it as, posted online as anonymous, same council member, didn't like it, threw shade at it. This is all protected stuff. Like, there was nothing done wrong. And so now here it ends up on an agenda because somebody didn't like it. I don't understand. Like, it just simply blows my mind, and to see that it got a second, like, does anybody actually, besides probably Ian and Joe, actually understand what the Constitution is and what the First Amendment stands for and what it protects? Because all that stuff is protected. And yet here we are having to come and have it on the agenda. It just, it literally blows my mind. So when you get to that point, I wish everybody would think and understand that nothing wrong happened. We just have one council member who doesn't like it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next. Joe.
Oh, shoot, forgot something. Hi, Joe Neely, founder of Voucher Directory, self-proclaimed journalist here. I'm here to talk about how I feel about this revised news policy, media policy that I think is, in my opinion, against the First Amendment rights of citizens, especially now in this day and age where you see traditional outlets closing their doors, scaling back on things because the cost of overhead is just too much for them to maintain. So it relies on people who want to make their community better or to add some light to what's going on to be able to bridge that gap, especially in the 21st century where everyone now has a cell phone that has video capability, audio capability, and numerous court cases that upheld the right of citizen journalism. Nice Report has also ruled on that. I'm not going to dive deep in that because I already discussed that several months ago when this news policy was put out, maybe 5 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, but we already have the information, and that's my opinion on it. But in front of most of your desks, there is an article I wrote on the 15th. It is basically the 2024 shop with the sheriff. That was my first traditional article where I typed it, spent several times going over it. I know that Danny and Lucy and some others do not go on Facebook, so that's where most of my article is. So I'll give them an opportunity to take home and review with them. It's basically my experience of talking to Sam Elliott, our new elected sheriff, his experiences, several other prominent deputies who are there countless times, spending well over 20 years of shop with a cop or shop with a sheriff. It actually touched my heart. And that was my first major article. I'm very proud of it, I stand by it. The reason why I did it that way is because Walmart is a very sticky place where they do not allow video. So I figured this is a good opportunity to shed some light because with a form like this, it actually helps paint, illustrate to the viewer or the reader what a video couldn't at that point is to be able to address a focus and a topic and reach the audience. I hope you enjoy the article when you take it home. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Right. Next we have Michael Miller.
Michael Miller?
Yes.
Sorry. Hi, my name's Michael Miller. I'm a 20-year resident of Sheridan and homeowner. I'd like to speak in opposition of changing a media policy that would keep West Valley transparency from covering events that are important to all of us. I rely on that. I'm not a friend of his. I've never met Mr. Neely, but I watch council meetings online all the time now because I want to know what's going on. In fact, instead of trying to still his voice, should be the opposite. I think the council should be encouraging him. There should be more transparency because the more eyes that are put on subject and the actions that are done by you, there's more of a chance it's going to be the correct one. As I said, I'm not a friend of his. I don't know him, but I do rely on him now, and I would hate to see that go away. Thank you.
Okay, so, okay. Right, next we have, Edward Estes.
Hello, my name is Mr. Estes. Constitution. I have a slip here for everybody in the council and one for the city as well. I own an internet digital media company. These statements are directed to the council and the mayor. Does the council and the mayor represent the people all the time? Does the council support and respect the Constitution of the United States? When was the last time you read the Constitution or any part of it? Eyes and ears cannot be trespassed. This is for the people. Thank you for your time.
Great. Right, next we have, Faith Dobbin.
I am here as well because I think that Joe Neely is a valuable voice, and also the League of Oregon City. The last time I was here, by the way, The only time I've addressed you guys was when I was defending someone's right to speak in a public forum. Heidi Bell decided to call the police and took her away out of the meeting. How'd that work out for you guys? Yeah. So any person providing the public with news, including internet bloggers, are permitted into executive session. Taking this interpretation is the safest way to ensure compliance with state law and provides the best chance to avoid litigation. So allowing him or any other person who is a member of the media is the safest way to avoid litigation. Right, Tyler? So if the city wishes to prevent litigation, the Oregon League of Cities strongly encourages the city to undertake a meaningful and in-depth discussion with its city attorney to try to avoid costly litigation. Have you guys had this lengthy discussion to avoid costly litigation for the city, for the taxpayers? Have you done that? But you're gonna vote on it today, right? Interesting. First Amendment, I'm so glad that was passed out. I'm not a good public speaker. Mary Ann did an amazing job, obviously an amazing job. And it takes a lot for me to come out here, and the First Amendment is my thing. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing with our money? Are you respecting the people in this city? I'd like to see that something happen tonight. A good change. Thank you.
Okay, next we have, well, we have no public hearing. Next we have presentations, pavement company presentations. The first, is somebody from CAPS here?
Joel should be on.
There he is.
Great. Joel, are you here?
You mind if I?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
So Joel's with CAPS. He has the handout we were given about a month ago. So he agreed to come tonight. This is the second time we've looked at it. We have a couple more presentations, and Joel agreed to answer any questions we have. Just for an update, PCI management systems are basically, you analyze what the streets are and the conditions they are, and then you analyze your best management practices on how to improve those streets and keep those streets maintained in the most cost-effective way. And there's a number of ways to approach this, and Joel has got quite a few cities and counties in the area, and he's available for questions if you have any.
Hey, Jim, I know you had a question when we first looked at this. Did you get that question answered?
I did. I called Joe to ask how exactly the system works as far as regarding, how do you decide how a street is? And he can tell me now if I got it right. You take between 50 and 100 yards of the street that you consider to be the worst and measure that very carefully and apply that result to the entire street to judge how the street is as far as quality and or endurance. Did I get that right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we do random sampling for the most part, but within a city street, we usually measure between 50 and 70% of the street, and we extrapolate all those distresses over the remainder of the street, and it comes up with a network PCI number between 0 and 100. So every single street in the city of Sheridan would be assigned a number between 0 and 100.
That's cheating, you can have to extrapolate, that's a big word, I don't know that many.
But yeah, that's what the system basically does. It kind of takes the guesswork out of street maintenance is basically what it does, because we do a snapshot of the entire network, dump all this into a database, it crunches all the numbers. We put your budget that you have for streets in there, and then we run these scenarios. And it shows you how to get the best bang for your buck. With limited street funds that you have, it makes sure it's applying the right maintenance at the right time. And you're not wasting your money or doing it into a crisis management type thing where you're going out and paving the worst street first. And it also runs a few other scenarios as well. We can put increased funding in there to see what would happen if the city of Sheridan decided to put a little bit more money towards their streets. Then we can run a 5 or a 10-year scenario, and you can look like a crystal ball out into the future and see what kind of bang for your buck that you got, to see if it was worth that investment. And we can also run the scenario, if you cut your budget, what's gonna happen and how much deferred maintenance will go up. So there's all sorts of wonderful things with this tool that we can do. And I will say that probably almost every city in your immediate area has this program, but you guys. So if you wanted to talk to some of the other folks around, that would be a great idea.
Is the mapping or does your I guess system, does it take into account like the fact that we're in the floodplain, and does it look at areas where we have like, you know, water or possibly like increased levels of water that might be deteriorating streets or anything like that?
You sure can. I mean, it has all sorts of bells and whistles with it, so you could put, you know, things like roads that are in the floodplain. And and a lot of times when we work with agencies with roads in the floodplain, we can't use the maintenance treatment of like a 2-inch overlay in there, because that's obviously going to affect the topography of the area. So when we get into streets that are in a floodplain, a lot of times the maintenance treatment's going to be a grind and replace, so we don't change the current elevation. So, and then we can do this with snow plows, or you can put anything you want in there, street lighting, bike lanes. You can put just about everything you want into this system. And it's also a great asset tool. The fact that you can put your signs, your striping, crosswalks, all that kind of stuff. You can inventory all those fire hydrants. We do this for quite a few cities where we put everything into one system. So it's one-stop shopping.
Okay. Well, I believe all our roads are in the floodplain, so that would be helpful. Okay. Anybody have any other? Liz?
On the proposed cost, you have council meeting presentations, $1,200. Is that every time you present to us, it's $1,200, or is that a presentation after you assess the streets?
That would be if I were to come out and present all the data to you. Once it's done, it's going to come out in this pretty thick report. It's going to be about a 50-page report that's going to come to you, and a lot of technical information in there. So I would come out and add to a council meeting and then kind of break it down for you. I put it into a PowerPoint presentation of anywhere from 12 to 14 slides, and I just kind of condense it into more layman's terms so everybody understands it. And you know, that is totally an optional thing. Some folks, the city public works department, they feel confident enough in explaining it to you. So that, yeah, that's something that's optional. It's a one-time thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Joel. For the IT support and licensing, what is the cost approximately per year for the software?
It's $1,000.
Thank you.
You bet. It's probably one of the reasons why most people use this, because most of these software that do what we're doing, annual licensing, it runs anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. So this software is actually owned by a public agency down in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's called the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. It's like Metro is in Portland, but it's MTC down in the San Francisco Bay Area. And they actually own the software, and that's why it's so popular. It's used by about 95% of all public agencies in the state of Oregon.
Does the system, does it look at unimproved roads any differently than paved roads?
You can put the gravel roads into this system, but only for inventory. So, yeah, so there's no analysis done on gravel roads because I've worked on committees over the last 40 years with the Forest Service, BLM, a lot of the rural Oregon counties in eastern Oregon, to try to come up with an improved road inventory module, but they're not static, they're constantly in flux depending on the weather and everything else. So we really haven't come up with an analysis tool for those, but you can inventory them.
Okay. Okay, have any other questions? We've got their proposal here. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I think. Go ahead and, move on. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Take my agenda outside. Okay. Guess it looks like for the, looks like we have Civil West for the other pavement. Do we have Chris on here?
Yeah, there's Chris up there.
Okay. Oh, okay. Hi, Chris.
How's it going, everyone? Thank you for having me.
Does everybody know who Chris is? Civil
I
West?
think we do.
He's working at Civil West, at the very least, so.
Yeah, he's been here a couple times. He's worked on a lot of our other projects that aren't the water master plan.
We're right in the middle of your sidewalk project in Bridge Street
Oh, okay.
as well. I think that was the last one I made it for. So just a little recap of what, I requested a scope of work proposal for conducting a PCI inventory for the city of Sheridan. So we provided one. I worked with CAPS before through the Street Saver software. It's good. It's great software for large cities. One thing that we offer that is that you won't get with another type of company like the Street Saver is you've got a small inventory of streets compared to a lot of cities. So we didn't see the need for specialized software that offers a subscription. We basically collect all the data, conduct a PCI inventory of all of your streets, and then provide you a degradation model. It's a simple equation for street degradation, and we would provide that to you in a Excel format and through a GIS-based attribute data for inventorying all your streets, and then you would own it. So basically, that's the main difference between PCI and ourselves is that we're not offering a subscription service for the data. It's basically, we come in, collect all the data, provide the all the streets. One also thing that is a little different from our proposal is that we are offering about, I think we calculated about 165 street sections per block. I'm not exactly sure how many streets, sections, CAPS will be providing separate inventories on. So that's, another company might take 5 or 6 city blocks and provide you a sample PCI for that whole section where we would provide it for every city blocks. It makes it a lot easier for when you do rehab, you can edit the data and update your model for your deferred maintenance and cost projections over time. They, kind of I guess our competition, they're not really our competition because they are, they have the best model out on the street. They've been doing this for many cities all over the state and the country. It's a great model. I've worked with other cities, managing the street saver accounts. It's a great product, but it's simple, and for a city that doesn't have many streets, it's not critical that a city the size of Sheridan has to use it. So anyways, that's kind of our background. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
So as far as how will you like record like what streets, you know, like what level they are? So like say we fix Sheridan Road and it goes from like a 4 to a 10 because we just redid the whole thing. The data that you have, how do you update that then so that we have updated data going forward?
It's basically just you enter in your PCI value. The PCIs, we have some trained technicians here locally that can assess the streets for PCI, or you and your staff can update the PCI. Basically, it never, when you do an overlay or street rehab, if you do a full street rebuild, it'll bring it up to a 98 on PCI, which is probably your highest level. If you're just doing an overlay or street slurry seal, you're not going to be bringing it all the way back up to a 98 or 100. You're going to be bringing it up to a 70. So the degradation will continue unless you did a full rebuild, of course. But for Sheridan Road, that is a full rebuild on your street. So it'll bring it up to a 98.
Okay, I was just wondering how that would be tracked as we go forward. I believe in the caps, you know, they have that map. It sounds like as improvements are done and that map gets updated. So I was curious how Civil West would be doing the updates to the roads that would be improved.
So yeah, it would be, our deliverable would be a large Excel file model with formulas that would project for degradation. So it'd just be as easy as editing an Excel sheet. The GIS attribute data is, you know, you need someone who's a little bit trained on GIS to be able to edit that shapefile data, but it's pretty simple as well.
So what's Civil West's proposed cost to do this? I don't remember reading it. Was it in?
Let me see, I thought it was in your packet.
Maybe I missed it. Anyone else notice?
Not in this packet.
Not in this.
Yeah, let me see, I have it right here. So our initial analysis was the 10,500. We broke it up into 4 separate tasks. The first task is the pavement analysis. Second task is cost estimation, budget development, and then the next task is GIS mapping. So the first task is 10,500. Cost estimating and budget development is 13,240, and then the GIS is 12,600. And then we have an optional geotechnical sub-consultant street analysis for cores and subgrade analysis, which can run anywhere from 20 to 40,000, depending on how many streets you want to core throughout the city, or subgrade asphalt sections for evaluating proper street sections for rehab.
I don't remember, have we gotten a scope of work from Civil West? I know you just said the number, but I was just curious if we've had a scope of work looked at. kind of sounds familiar, so I wasn't sure if we had it last meeting or.
No.
Okay. We just talked about it, okay.
Hey, Chris, would you explain what coring is?
Did you hear that, Chris?
What was that?
Can you explain what coring is?
Oh, so coring is basically take a very large drill, about a 4-inch hole, hole in the street, and you get a sample of the street section from the asphalt to the base rock underneath to the subgrade, and it's a sample of the vertical layers of the street, and you bring that into a lab and you test for different failure modes. And then from there you can assess based off of what your road was built on, your actual native geology, what a preferred street section should be for your area, and also dependent on your traffic loading as well. So.
Okay. That's one thing I'm not sure if the capsule is gonna do is the coring. I might be wrong, but.
Another thing that is, base failure is something that is very common with a lot of streets where you see alligatoring, or like lots of broken tiles almost in your street section. And that's not actually a pavement, not so much pavement age issue as it is your whole street section is failing. And that's something that we would take a look at. The cores are ideally the best way to analyze that.
Great, Ian?
So if I'm to understand this correctly, that you can give us this information about our streets and we can just own that information, and we could potentially also do some of this work ourselves to identify the streets needs.
Yeah, that's pretty much the main difference. We're, I admit we are more expensive upfront, but there's no software, that you own it. I'm not sure if you can opt out of the software for the other proposal or not.
May I ask the Public Works Director a question?
Yeah, okay.
How realistic is it of us to expect Public Works employees or whatever to identify issues with the streets? Is that a high level of realism for us to expect that? Or are you guys busy?
It's high. We've actually done it before. We would find time to train up for that. That's what we've done in the past. We basically have a street engineer come in, a geotech engineer, and they train us up for that task. And then we've actually done the PCI before here, Public Works, me and myself and Dave Shane.
Okay.
So it was quick and easy. It wasn't nearly as detailed or had the data that the engineers are offering. We did no course. It was just a surface inspection. So, but yeah, we can do that to a certain extent. That would again would be a surface inspection. But we do have. I've been in Public Works since '98, and Dave Shane has been in for 14 years, and he did it 10 or 15 years in paving before that. So he's who I lean on when we're doing street projects. I lean on Dave's expertise. He's our material expert. So that's where I go with that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Chris? Okay. All right, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay. So next we have a TMDL update. Andrew, are you?
6 slides, that's still working.
I got them, as
So,
soon as I can share my screen.
Oh.
yeah, my name's Grant. I've been working through the West City for a couple of years. I write plans for the wastewater system, and in this case, the stormwater system. So I'm here to talk about the TMDL. TMDL, what they are, why we need it, slide, please. So, the TMDL, just broadly speaking, the state requires all designated management areas to have a TMDL for mercury. So this is something that's an unfunded mandate from DEQ. It's a pass-through of federal regulation. Next slide, please. So, again, broadly speaking, wastewater people are very pragmatic, very practical people. We realize that we can't take pollution down to zero. So we try to say, how much pollution can a river take? And there's different criteria there. So initially it was like, don't set the river on fire, and then it was, can people swim in the river? Now we're down to human health criteria. So that's a picture of salmon at Willamette Falls, and the salmon in the Willamette Falls have a high level of mercury in their system. Women and children, pregnant women and children are more susceptible to mercury pollution. There's more mercury pollution in one salmon than a kid can eat for 2.5 years. So that's all sources. So don't eat the river salmon and the Willamette. And the state says we have to get that down because some populations in our community, Native Americans, consume a lot of salmon, and they're at higher risk of developing issues from mercury consumption. Next slide, please. So mercury is a worldwide problem, really. There's some local geology that has mercury in our soils. That's a map of all the mercury across the country in the first 2 inches of soil. A lot of our mercury here in Oregon is actually atmospheric deposition from China, from coal burning in China. So it comes all the way across the ocean. You notice the Northeast has a lot of mercury? Yeah. That's atmospheric deposition from coal burning in the Midwest. And like France's mercury comes from Pennsylvania, right? From steel mercury. So it's just on the prevailing winds, it's going all around the world. But again, in Oregon, we have this standard that we need to get the level of mercury down in fish. So if the mercury is in the soil, we need to keep the soil from entering the stream. And that's where the TMDL comes in. Our TMDL is all about picking up the mercury before it gets through the storm sewer into the animal. We need to prevent soil erosion in all cases. And these actions that we took in this plan are all prescribed by the state. There's really nothing optional. So next slide, please. We just do things that we were doing before, and we record them. We do them a little bit better. So we do street sweeping, record how much we street sweep, and try to keep, especially in the dusty part of the year, we try to keep the streets clean so that we're not getting runoff. Catch basin cleaning has really improved in the city since I've been here. They're cleaning out the catch basins more often and recording that they're doing it so that we don't have sediment that's caught. Because some of the sediment will just hit the basin and settle at the bottom. If we can keep that first foot of the basin clean, it doesn't reach the river. We've done quite a bit of outreach, so you guys have a handout that's the other we did. We've done presentations. We directly engaged construction contractors that are working in the city to say, hey, we have erosion control requirements in our municipal code. And we try to address that heads up, like, hey, these are the expectations. They do outreach at every opportunity. And I think the guys do a great job opening up facilities, and they did something about lights the other day, like for you. Next slide, please. So the plan has an 8-year planning horizon. So by 2030, this is the biggest thing that's going to come before council in the next couple of years, is we need to deal with post-construction runoff. So you can't disturb soil and then leave it there. So you want to grade, you have to come back and put in vegetation. Basically, vegetated surfaces are the cure for this. You can put in silt barriers and try to maintain, keep all the erosion away from your property, but it's a change. It's happening all across Oregon. It's not just us. All the contractors who know that they need to revegetate after they do disturbed soils. I take a second here while I have your attention to draw attention to your staff. So Brent and Braden are your wastewater treatment plant guys, and they are doing a great job. Nobody calls me when things are going well, and things are definitely going well in Sheridan. They're constantly texting me like, hey, look how clean this is. These guys are very excited to shave a couple pounds of pollution in the city.
That's awesome.
They are vigilant. They react with urgency. I would encourage you, if you ever get out to the wastewater treatment plant, it's a park-like setting now. There's wildlife all over those ponds. Everything is well maintained. There's no garbage. You bought them a new mower, which they really like, that works on the slopes and they maintain the banks really well. So that is part of this plan, is maintaining our facilities, because if you look at the footprint of the city, a large portion of that is operated by these two guys, the wastewater treatment plant and the land application center, the recycled water just outside of it, all that's, I think they do a great job of maintaining all those ditches. Also, Sheridan has a vegetated corridor along the Yamhill, right? So a little bit of landslide erosion, creeks move and things. But that barrier along the river really protects us and keeps us from having to deal with a lot of erosion issues because it is vegetated, it's a natural system. We don't have to go in and do a lot of rehab work as part of the TMDL. So yeah, again, thank you. I've done 4 plans for Sheridan. You guys are always on them. I really appreciate the staff and it's nice to come here. Yeah, that's all. If there's any questions, yeah, Chuck.
Do we have other companies within the city that also are responsible for their own TMDL reporting and permits?
It's a great question. So the state has designated the city as the designated management authority. So we do execute the plan upon anyone else in our jurisdiction. So no, like Stella doesn't have their own TMDL for Mercury. There are TMDLs for other things. So there are different pollutant loads for different decisions. Mercury is the only one that we fall under. Some people are under temperature TMDLs. Because we land apply all the water in the summer, we don't put any water in the river during the summer. We're not subject to temperature TMDLs. Other cities are. Lafayette, Elizabeth, Burlington. Any questions?
Great photo.
Yeah, so,
I like it.
yeah, on the bridge.
You mentioned that covering the ground with vegetation is the solution to this problem. I imagine there's better vegetation than others. Is there more information on that we could hear or read about somewhere?
So our plan is not prescriptive. We really just say, and nothing can erode. When we do the standards for the post-construction runoff, that's really where a vegetative requirement would come in. And you can specify native grasses over half an acre. There's another rule that comes into place here. It's called a 1200C. If anyone's disturbing over half an acre, 1 acre in Oregon, they need to go get a permit from DEQ. That has its own erosion control plan requirements. For general land disturbance, we'll have to develop some kind of code, modified code, and come before you guys and talk about what you want to prescribe.
Thank you.
So, excuse me, yeah, it's a serious problem. But it doesn't stop here with the rivers. It's in the ocean. It drifts into the ocean. I know they test fish that never see fresh water 200 miles offshore, and they got mercury in them. So it's something we can help slow down, that's for sure, but we can't cure the ocean problems.
I 100% agree. And again, we try to be really practical with this. So the state hasn't put an endpoint standard on you to say, hey, we're going to come out and test all your storm sewers, so you got to get below this level. It's just a bunch of best practices and corrective actions. But yeah, like I said, it dropped out suspension on its way here. We're just getting the tail end of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for the good news.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so moving on to the consent agenda. Council meeting minutes and the voucher directory. Those can be approved with one motion if somebody so chooses to.
I'd make a motion that the council approve minutes for November 18th, 2024 and December 2nd, 2024. And the voucher directory as for November 18th, 2024 and December 16th, 2024 as presented.
Second.
All right, first and second. Any discussion? Jim?
I did talk with Stacy about the new software and how it works. Found it pretty confusing. I think y'all always try to take a good deep look at the stuff, and I understand what's going on, and I talked with Stacy about how things are going. This is a big software change. She's working hard to get it straight away. One thing I noticed that there's probably several things that may have not made it in the system, but the one I noticed, because I always check that, is a PGE. And it isn't that they aren't, or when you're afraid it isn't that she's not tracking it. They just had a separate sheet for that she gave me, and that allows me to take a better look at what's going on, so, that's why I seconded, Ross's motion, because I believe to the best of the ability of the new, Tyler Tech software, we're getting the information we should be getting, although there may be more that will be coming next because next month we're trying to go fully Tyler Tech.
May I make a quick statement to the council? That's okay? Thank you, Jim. You actually explained it wonderfully. So I just wanted to give a really quick update on where we're at with the Tyler Tech transfer with data and everything, because the reports we still have out of two systems. Excuse me. So currently this week, up until Thursday, I am about 6 hours a day in Tyler Tech meetings, which we are focused on going live with our payroll. So this upcoming payroll for the city will actually be done through Tyler Tech. So there have been a lot of reports, everything. I mean, you have to make sure that the Medicare taxes are, to the penny on each single person. So that has been the main focus for the last couple of weeks, which unfortunately has put the data dumping and reconciliation of the financials a little bit more on the back burner until I'm done with the HR and payroll portion, which ends Thursday. So Friday will probably be a really fun catch-up day for me. And then starting next Monday, I'm back on financial meetings to make sure that we have all of the balances, all of the deposits, everything in Tyler Tech. And that only goes through the end of December. So come January, we are 100% Tyler Tech, and it will be one report. As Jim did mention with the payables, I missed the PG&E payment. I apologize. I'm learning how to pull these reports and make sure it's a very different system than what we're used to. We used to be able to just put, post council through council and everything that was in there printed out beautifully. Tyler Tech doesn't work that way, so I'm learning, and I did miss it. He asked, which is why I handed out to you my sheet of what we paid to PG&E.
I'd like to just restate what you said. You said you missed PG, you paid them.
Oh, yes, no, yeah. To be clear, we paid PG&E. It was just not caught in that payable report that I ran, and I do apologize for that. It's a learning curve.
Stacey, I just had a question real quick, and you
Yes.
probably already explained it, but so on page 63, if you have your.
What are you looking at? I don't have the actual.
I'm looking at Fund 10, General Fund Surplus, and then it's in parentheses deficit.
It's in your report, not the.
I think that's
Right.
Stacy.
Is it the budget report you're looking at?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and which one?
Just the bottom line numbers. I'm trying to.
Okay. Yes, I've got that one. Perfect.
Figure out, I'm sure this is fine. I just see negative numbers,
Yes.
and I don't. I want to completely understand what they mean. So, under the original, there's negative $4 million, and then the current is, well, I think that's the exact same number. So, is that just showing what we've spent so far this year, or is that last year's? Or
No.
what does that mean?
So if you're looking at it and you're looking at the 4.5 million,
Yeah.
that line. So that is actually the budget, and the general fund surplus deficit, that's basically, probably shouldn't even really be printed there. It's just part of the double entry in the account. Every positive has to have a negative to balance. And so that's what that is. But if you look at the expense total line, that's really where you're gonna get your numbers, your actual numbers. The other one is just part of a journal entry.
Expense. Oh. Okay.
So yeah, your expense total, right above the deficit.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the negative numbers, when you're looking at that, that is just part of the journal entry in the system. This report just happens to print it out. I don't know why.
Okay. I figured it was that.
Yes, I promise we are not negative at all like that.
Okay. So looking at it then, so as far far as what we have remaining, so we had, you know, 4.5 million, and then remaining we have 3.5, so is the 3.5 what we have left in the general fund?
Yes.
Okay.
And these are not 100%. They are split between both the vision report that you have for the revenue as well as this report. So it's still mixed and kind of has to be combined together for the last time.
Okay, Jim.
Stacy and I discussed this, that some of these numbers in the budget report itself are a little off, because if you look at the, in the expense line under City Hall wages, for example, we're in the 6th month of the fiscal year, but it shows we've got 78% of the budgeted money available. That's probably not correct, and I just, we both make the assumption that next month, everything will be in here to properly display it.
Yes, and that's what we're doing right now with the payroll, is finishing all of the data dump over into Tyler Tech, so that that number will adjust to look more accurate to a 6-month.
I did take a real close look at that after I talked to you, because there's just too many variables that.
Yes, and I do apologize, and I appreciate everybody's patience with this. It has been an extreme undertaking, moving all of this from one system to another. So I appreciate everybody bearing with me, but January, we'll have one report for all of this, and it'll be reconciled and balanced and beautiful. Awesome. If you put it out there, it happens, right? Are there any other questions for me on anything? Okay.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'm going to be stepping back into my office for a while. If anybody needs anything throughout this from me, just holler.
Okay, thank you. All right, thanks. All right, so we have a first and a second. Is there any other questions about the minutes or the voucher directory? I know Lucy left.
We still have
Well, yeah, okay. Okay, you wanna go ahead and vote, all in favor? Okay. Unanimous, minus Lucy, but, she'll be back. So, next we have bulletin board expense.
There wasn't a bulletin board expense in there because of the Hikma month, so I don't think you have to worry about that one.
Oh, okay. All right.
But, yeah, I am, in the past, I've abstained from voting on that. However, I'm writing sporadically for them now, and I'm not charging them or getting paid for it, so I don't have to abstain anymore, just so you know.
Okay, whatever you, I mean,
Yeah.
as long as there's no conflict of interest, I mean,
No, there
just
isn't,
make sure
'cause
Tyler.
I'm just doing it voluntarily, yeah.
Okay, Denny,
Well, then I'm in the same boat.
same vote, okay. Okay, oh, good enough.
only writing sporadically.
Right. Thank you.
All right, so next, then, we have department reports. So we have the sheriff's report. I think it's after, is it, or did I just skip it? 45? Yeah. Oh, I skipped it, okay. What's the more? Okay.
Oh, should we ask Lucy if she agrees on that?
I don't know, do we do that, Tyler?
Which is an abstention.
Okay.
So what
You voted while you were gone.
was it?
It passed.
Vote on.
The voucher, the minutes of the voucher. I went too far back, okay. All right, so sheriff's report. Any questions or comments on that? Jim?
Well, I'm just, the numbers look great, as far as I'm not increasing from the previous year. However, I did notice they only, in this report from the 1st of November till the 30th of November, they only reported one VU. But if you look through their actual calls that they, reports that they put out, if you dig through the multiple pages here, there were 2 DUIs. I don't know why they missed that. That's kind of an important thing that they're doing that we should know about. So
I wonder if they were called to 2, but only one was.
it's possible it wasn't there. I don't know
with it, or
depending on, because they also put in your traffic stop, they don't, so, I don't know. But I did notice that looking through here. I just basically, what the quick way I look through this is just look for, since we had the sheriff here explain it, look for the number one, so that's the one I think are most significant, that requires, we're there now. And I would do the DUIs, as you might expect, for a number one. There were two listed in the series of reports. Another thing I thought, this is just you as information, but sometimes you'll see something pop up, a disturbance at a specific street and time, and then you look at the next one here, the follow-up disturbance at the same place about 2 hours later. It's just, you kind of see that coming. That's all I had, I'm sorry.
No, no, you're fine. Any other comments, questions? Okay. All right, we'll move on then to the finance director budget reports. We kind of already heard from Stacy. I can go grab her if we want to ask more questions, but I think we kind of covered her report. Okay, so I'll move on then to Board's director's report. Kai, do you want to go ahead and call it out?
I'm going to talk about the sidewalk project downtown, where you have the east side demo, and we're going to be selecting the brick color soon now. So what was submitted was companies, basically it was, altered gold or something like that, light red. So, and that's a pigment that's mixed at the batch plant. So what that looks like is when they're actually making the cement, they actually add the pigment at the same time they're adding the water. So we've got pictures of the building. We're going to try and get it a shade or two darker than the building. So as it fades in, it'll always hopefully stay ahead of the building, looking a little newer. But that's the idea. I know some people have asked about that. So, and the pattern is great because you're staggered brick pattern, half brick, full brick, half brick, just staggered.
Okay.
So that's what the sign will look like.
And remind me, I'm pretty sure I know how much of it it's not the whole sidewalk, or is it just that kind of section?
It is just the section that's been down.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just this.
Okay. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Liz.
Do you mind talking a bit more about what's going on with the timber sale of Stony Mountain? Is that really, will that be detrimental for us developing?
I haven't met with them yet, so I don't know the scope of what they're logging. There are laws that they have to abide by as well, and it's a federal, it's BLM. So they will put it up to bid, as I understand, and then companies, approved companies, and licensed companies will bid on that project, and then they will award that to the highest bidder, I believe. We will have our forester up there to help walk us through that process. We've never had a logging near Stony before. This will be our first one. So that's a great question. So we're going to be educating ourselves on that and see. We do work with forestry operations, and we found them to be exceptionally responsive. So they are well aware of what we have up there, and they treat it accordingly.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I was curious, I know it wasn't in your report, but I was curious what your idea or what you think about next step as far as what we should do as far as looking at how to get the water from Stony. I know we heard from Tim and Kevin, last meeting, and I was curious what you thought the best way we should go about that, because there's, I think, a few different ways we could go, and I was curious what you thought. I can also just meet with you.
Yeah, no, I'm okay talking with the council. That's a great question. One of those steps is tonight when we adopt the water master plan. That's that big first step. You really want to go stretch your dollar as far as you can in any business, right? And at the end, that's what public works is. We're revenue based. We're not tax money. We're revenue based. And so we fund other departments. That's how public works works. We don't. We do all the infrastructure and then fund other departments. Just like Grant mentioned earlier, unfunded mandate. That happens to us a lot. So, yeah, I like that he hit that. I appreciated that. Thank you for that. So, what we're probably going to try and do is reuse as much of that water line as we can. Find a way to get the water to the plant technology's gone a long way since the seventies when I was put in. The plants are much smaller now, their footprint is much smaller, so that building still works. We will need some office space up there, we're looking at modulars for that. Long-term, is a modular a good idea? No, obviously, I mean, usually utilities are brick and mortar, right, because they're there forever. But we're looking, there are a lot of cities that have built newer facilities that we've looked at, so some of these modulars that they used are coming up and available. So Dallas has got one we're gonna look at in 3 years, if the timing's right. So there is something to do with water rates that you don't have to do with your cell phone bill. And that is, if you raise the water rates, you have to explain exactly why your water rates were raised. Cell phones are not the same. They go up exponentially all the time. Nobody bats an eye. Gas bills gone up 41% in the last 5 years. How much is our water bill gone up? 2.5%.
It hasn't gone up in 2 years.
2 years. So that's a problem. Every year, our operation costs go up. Even if we don't raise the water rates, our operation costs still go up. So I think we'll take the master plan and we'll do the best job we can with what's recommended in it. And we usually take the lowest alternate. You know, there's usually 3 or 4 alternates in there. We usually take the lowest alternate. And that's honestly fine. We just try to keep costs down as low as we can. But it has to have longevity. It has to pay out 50 years. That's always our goal, is that facility's there for 50 years. So whatever matches that criteria is what we'll go in that building. And we'll make good clean water out of it. We're happy to bring Stony on, and that's a great alternate source of Yamhill. Right now, you notice my report, we're not running out of Yamhill right now. And we look forward to that all year. We're trying to get back. It's a lot less work for us. We can do other things during that time. So we're thankful that that source is there. Yeah, and we'd like to utilize it to its full potential. So absolutely, and that's what I envision, is we'll put smaller footprint plants in the same building.
Okay, so I guess that would be the first step, and then figure out what to do with some of the people who are on that line.
Yeah, I've already been in discussions with a consultant for that.
Okay.
So yeah, we're working on that right now.
Okay.
Some of them are easy, some of them are not so much. The geology up there is gonna be what we're tackling. It is what it, as I say, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about that.
Listen.
This is, do you mind if I change the subject?
Good.
On the fog violations?
Yeah.
Do we have an issue with that around, Marketplace, or, it's not Select Market? I don't wanna name a particular
We're
restaurant,
going to
but
be supplying code with pictures and data. Should have sent her an email already to ask her what she's gonna require. But they're in January, so the wastewater side slows down about this time of the year. They've got pretty much everything's dialed in for their treatment process down there now. They fired up October 1, so everything's going good. They're doing a great, fantastic job, by the way. So we'll have them focus on some helping code, get what she needs to get the enforcement done. It's usually pictures, time, date stamps, and maintenance costs. So, yeah, and absolutely, Harding Street has been TP'd, and that pipe is in horrible shape.
that's what I was thinking.
Far worse shape than any of the surrounding area that was put in at the same time.
I see. So it's coming from restaurants, right?
It's coming into the sewer system on Harding Street.
Yeah.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Harding Street was just redone.
It did, yeah. It did.
Apparently they didn't take care of that issue, or it isn't the pipes, it's actually what's coming into them, is that correct?
Correct.
The grease.
The pH is off, yeah. pH is off, low flow, goes septic. You get, I think it's hydrochloric acid is what that makes after that, yeah. It's all hard on the pipe. It's hard on aggregate.
And then goes to the river.
After we treat it, yeah, and it drives up our treatment costs as well. Yeah,
Point taken.
Yeah.
too many solids.
Any other questions for Jim? Go ahead.
I just wondered, you mentioned that you're working on the punch list out at Southside Park. I know the bridge is still a big question as opposed to a punch list, is that correct? Or is that...
The bridge is something I have not figured out yet. I am working on it though. We started peeling that back kind of last week. Finance is still getting me some numbers, and we're trying to figure out where we're at exactly. I'll bring it to the next council commission.
And then the other question I have for you is totally different. Last meeting you mentioned that we see Gary's report for his trip to Denmark.
Yeah, he was sick a couple days, so we're gonna get him on the next one. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Guy? Good.
Is this what we're gonna discuss?
I think we were gonna discuss it later for city manager report.
Okay.
If that's fine. As long as you
Sorry.
stick around until then. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Oh,
guys.
thank you.
Okay. So we have library is Gwen.
She is not here tonight.
Okay. Any questions on that?
She's a hard worker too.
Is she online?
I don't think so.
Cause I did have a question, maybe you can answer it. In her report, she said that they applied for this grant and we submitted for 10,000 or 20,000. Why is there two different figures?
That was probably that grant that didn't have a dollar amount on it that we signed.
Oh.
Cause
right.
Cause it was probably, cause they don't know how much they're gonna have. It sounds like now they do. So they probably submitted for both. They probably have it broken down into tiers, like
Yeah,
tiers
she
for
said
10,000,
if it's
20,000.
10,000, they'll buy the mobility doors, and if it's 20,000, they'll buy large notebooks.
Jim?
Yeah, I remember talking about this grant and what you, I think the way it works is the whole grant total is $7 million, but that's for everybody.
Right.
So we can't get $7 million, but we can apply for however much they let us apply for, so 20,000 would be preferable, but that's one of those, well, if you don't have 20, can you give us 10? I think that's why that is the way it is. But once again, it looks like, the library is obviously a very vibrant, important place to the city.
This would be great.
And I'm really sad to see they actually did have to close for 3 days in a row, but, well, since it's the first time in 13 years, hopefully it'll be at least another 13 years before that happens again, so.
Yeah, they're back down to 3, so 3 staff members.
Let me say some pregnant woman not working anymore.
Yep.
Moving on.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on for that report? Okay. So, next we have code enforcement. Any questions or comments on Jim? Go ahead.
I just like to say again, wow,
Yes.
all that she does here,
Amazing, yeah.
and especially under the code cases closed. I especially kind of went through them, and you see here that 35 cases were closed on the first notice, which is outstanding. Just people going, oh, I did not realize what it looks like, but they fixed it right away. And then we've only got 3 citations that are actually going to court, so I think that's outstanding. So that's all I have to say. But her work is just stellar, and especially the reporting. It's tough to have a question about this when you read through this.
Yeah.
But, and it's nice she includes the neighborhood watch activity too. I'm not sure how she's notified of that, but that's nice she includes that. Cause I know that's like a community thing.
Right.
Citizen thing.
Yeah, in addition to this, she's also sponsoring events like the turkey trot and the immunization clinic for the, or vaccination clinic for the animals. It's pretty amazing.
Any comments, questions on that? Okay.
In the future, can we expect some kind of, I guess, report on the status of the city's emergency preparedness from Angela in some way? Is that something we could get? Or maybe like an assessment of where we're at or something? I would like to see that, I think. She seems really competent with that, so.
Yeah.
pretty boring, there's not a lot of change in grants right now, and as soon as we're off the back burner in finance, then we'll be able to start dumping some of this into our actual, project accounting and grant tracking software, so I'm excited to do that, but right now, we don't have a lot happening on the grant.
So Tyler Tech has like a grant tracking.
Yeah, it's called project accounting, which we'll use for other stuff besides grant tracking. We're looking forward to it for like any project that you're thinking about doing that you can dump your budget number in and then totally track the activity that's happening, you know, whether there's grant money coming in for it and money that you're spending on the project, so you can know where you stand at any given time. So we are looking forward to being able to use that project, and we have some ideas for the first entries in there. I'd like to get all the Southside Park stuff dumped into that, just because we still have a lot of reimbursement requests we'd like to do, so.
Well, and it's a long.
It's a very long list, yeah. It's too late for the food day one, since that's closed, but yeah. But at least that's one front that's a little quiet right now for this time of year.
Jim, speaking of grants, how are we doing on getting the $1.3 million allocated before the 31st of December?
That would be a Tyler question.
How are we doing on that?
We are, well, we're doing well. It's been a lot of activity over the last couple of weeks with a lot of assistance from both department heads, finance people, Kai, but also folks at the COG and our engineers. I believe that the best route for us to take moving forward, and I did let Kale know this earlier today, we'll probably have to have a very tiny special session before the end of the year. But the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments has the ability to act essentially as a project manager for just ARPA projects as a chunk. So Laura and I are working, actually I prepared a draft memorandum of understanding and sent it over to Laura for her review today. So that would obligate all of our ARPA funds, and yes. And then obviously that gets us into compliance so that we don't lose $1.3 million, which we really don't want to do, which is why I've been frantic on this. But I think also as those projects move forward, having COG's support in kind of managing those projects, at least from the highest level, will help city staff, because we do have an awful lot going on, and these are 5 decent sized projects and then a smaller project, but it's a lot to add to already full plates. So I think there are several aspects of that arrangement that will be really, really beneficial.
I think it's good that we've got help from other places, because I know everybody's pretty maxed out.
And we aren't the only city that's, trying to figure out how to allocate. Most cities are trying to figure out how to allocate the last bit of their funding. We're trying to figure out the whole thing, but we're not alone. So there's other cities, and there's other cities trying to get the COGS help, from what I understand.
As long as we don't, everybody comes, we need that, and we'll get to the end, it's like, there's only this much space to get those things allocated. Hopefully we're at the front of the line.
I believe we are at the front of the line with the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments.
Good. We only have 2 weeks.
So we might have depending on when Tyler and the COG have the MOU finished up, we might meet this Thursday. It might be too soon, maybe next Monday. I know that's right before Christmas, maybe the 30th. I don't know, I'm kind of nervous about the 30th, it's pretty close. So so I'm thinking either the 23rd or the 19th, if everybody can, I don't know, hopefully they're available, but we can make it work, as long as we have a quorum. So, and it could be like a quick Zoom meeting, we all don't have to come in here unless that's easier for everybody.
I was thinking, there's probably not anybody gonna vote no.
Well,
Did you say Laura's helping?
Oh,
plan.
just a note, we will not be having our work session in January. We'll have one council meeting in January on the 21st.
And that's
it
Tuesday.
will not be on Monday.
Tuesday the 21st.
I put a calendar in here with that on it.
You don't have it.
But it is a good thing it's on Tuesday because I might be in Atlanta on the 20th.
Oh.
We're very important for you.
Did you say for an important football game?
Yes.
Oh, it must be the Detroit Lions then.
Okay, so next we got the city planner report. Any questions on this? Looks like
Well, yeah, but.
it looks like Sea Reach is expanding. That's
been ongoing.
yeah. But it looks like what they presented has been deemed complete. Jim, go ahead.
I just want to say I'm a little disappointed that, we talked about lack of housing here, and we had this Bridge Street 32 lot subdivision going in, and they said, oh, never mind, it's 27, and now they gotta start all over again because of the process. It's disappointing that they aren't already out there working on it.
Yeah.
And then under the special projects, getting that transportation growth management grant was excellent. It's nice to occasionally run into some money.
It won't be enough.
So I know.
So we need a transportation plan too, and then.
So I know it says that they're gonna, Liam's gonna consult with staff. I haven't had to do a transportation plan before. At what point do they, do they start working with us? Or do they? I don't know. That can be something that I can ask Liam, like when do they get input from council and then even, the public? I believe Lamina completed their transportation plan not long ago, and it sounds like there's a lot of citizen input on that, so.
And the public outreach portion is something that the consultant manages. That's part of their process. I anticipate once staff gets the scope of work dialed in, that before that's finalized, that will come to council.
But it'll be something that they'll do, so that's good to know. Okay, any other questions or comments on that? Okay.
I have just one more, I was gonna look it up and answer myself. Where is 119 East Main?
It's right next to 120.
No,
Across the
sorry.
street. Across the street.
Ruben Hirschberger's old place.
What is it?
Ruben Hirschberger's old place, I'm pretty sure. And I think it's that date too for everybody.
Yeah.
I can't remember where
Oh,
Ruben,
it's that block.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's it.
The 100 block. I think Ian's finding it.
Yeah, but there's no addresses up there.
There's an apartment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's numbers.
That's the, Green Frog.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that
Or
west
no,
or east?
it's, sorry, it's,
See, and the north,
yeah, you're right,
south side, so.
yeah.
Is that the?
120.
It's past the foundation.
Past that.
Past the building
Oh.
before
I
the
already looked for
paper.
numbers,
Oh,
but
I know where that
couldn't
is.
find it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that little shop.
Yeah, I think they're fixing the roof
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
not long ago.
Little
Oh.
tiny shop.
It's been a while, but it's been bad for a while.
Well, I think I saw them fixing it.
Yeah,
It might be that. Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Well, if there are questions on that, then we'll move on. Okay, so ordinances and resolutions. The first one, we have resolution 2024-J, adopting a news media policy.
good job, Tyler.
Is there any changes to this from since the last one?
The only change is Yvonne updated the dates on the resolution portion.
Oh.
It was April.
I didn't have any type of presentation prepared, sorry. But I am here to answer any questions.
Roxy, go ahead.
The verbiage you use, Tyler, is that, from the state or federal or yours?
For the policy itself.
Yeah.
That it was cribbed from other jurisdictions and edited version.
Copy that.
So this exists in other cities?
Yes. I don't know that the West Valley Bulletin Board is a recognized news media organization in any other jurisdiction. So that's probably special just for us.
Okay, yeah. All right, Liz, go ahead.
Are we still discussing it? Can I move it?
Oh, you can just, we'll discuss that.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can
so
make, you can go ahead.
I move that we adopt resolution 2024-J, a resolution adopting a news media policy.
A second.
All right, it's first and second. Now you can have discussion. We're having discussion before we can have more. All right, Roxy.
Page 2 of, well, 107 in the packet. Down at the bottom, it says, attendance at executive sessions, representative recognized news media organizations may attend executive sessions if state law requires the city to allow their attendance. Then under B, it says, talks about not allowing cameras, tape recorders, and other recording devices shall not be used in executive sessions except for the official executive session recording made by city staff. I'd like to add that, would like to prohibit the use of cell phones. I know it could be used as a texting device during. Or recording. I know, but recording is already in the resolution. I just thought we should include cell phones.
Would that be included? Is that talking about, members of the media? Or would that be for everybody? It would just be media.
If we just added it to that paragraph, it would apply to just media attending executive sessions.
I need mine for my hearing aids.
Okay.
But as a council, we wouldn't be able to use cameras or tape recorders either when we're talking about cell phones. So I'm just saying, shouldn't it be consistent?
You'd have to amend your motion to add that, but.
Well, after we're done discussing, can't we just say as
Right.
discussed or?
I don't think it's, I'm just wondering, is that assumed or should it be included in the verbiage?
I didn't see that kind of language in other news media policies. Which is not to say it shouldn't be added, just that it's not something that I saw.
Can't hurt, may help.
Okay.
It could fall under recording device.
But what if you were using your phone but not recording?
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call on Ian. Go ahead.
I think that the adoption of the news media policy is incredibly presumptive of us to do that. Our own Attorney General of this state has recommended that we be extremely careful when adopting any kind of policy. And as was stated by a citizen here tonight, it's recommended by the League of Oregon Cities, but very specifically that we have a long and meaningful discussion with the city attorney before adopting any news media policy. I, for one, would not support this policy in any way for us to adopt it. I think instead we should make a resolution to adopt whatever the state of Oregon describes their news media as, and use whatever they're using as an entity that probably has done more research than us into the subject anyway.
Lucy, do you have your hand up?
No.
Okay. All right, Roxy.
Well, I'd also like to add that this refers just to executive session. Anyone can come in and come to regular sessions, and it's not just it's not I realize there's a lot of dissension between the passing this and not, but remember, this only keeps certain entities from executive sessions, not regular sessions.
Jim, did you have something?
I did, as part of our oath that we take when we sign up for this job, promise to support the U.S. Constitution, the state constitution, the city charter, and all the ordinances. I don't know where this fits into that. As I was reading through here, I didn't see a lot that kept anybody away. So I don't understand the real need for it, is what I guess I want to say. Because we're already trying to support the law, so I don't know where this comes in to change that, so.
Okay, Dave.
So, West Valley Transparency has signed a executive session agreement in September 2024. I don't know if the Bulletin has, I don't know if the News Register has, that Joe has. So he's in. We already agreed to that. So I don't see any point in keep going through this.
Well, we had a first and a second. If anybody wants to amend their, if they want to
I'd
include.
like to amend my motion.
I made the motion.
We had amended it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and amend your motion.
Okay, to add cell phones, so I'd like to amend the motion. Wait, before I do that, I wanna address some of what's being said. First of all, a couple of the people that spoke tonight seem to think that this policy was, involved regular meetings as well, and as Roxy said, it's only for executive sessions. And also, this policy that Tyler put together is in line with Oregon's policy and the Department of Justice policy, because I looked up the Department of Justice policy, and it's very similar as far as allowing people into executive sessions that have formal background in media, meaning they're either working for a broadcasting company or they're legitimate as far as they've got a degree in journalism. And so that's kind of why I even spearheaded this, as I was feeling like you can't just start a blog online and say, be a self-proclaimed journalist and say, I'm a journalist now, and come into executive session, especially with what's been going on in the city. There's a lot of sensitive material. So I want to make it clear that this isn't to exclude Joe from meetings. He does a great job for the city, and or a lot of organizations in town videotaping things and putting it online. But this is to ensure that we have a policy, because we didn't, and that it's clear.
Right, Ian.
As stated, this is already a policy through the state. This already exists, and it's completely unnecessary for us to adopt any kind of policy. It already exists, and I don't think we should be doing this. It's absolutely our job as legislators to determine what is worthy of becoming law, and this absolutely is not. The press is a state institution. It should be protected at all costs. And I absolutely will not support this in any way.
Okay, so,
I second the amended motion.
okay.
It wasn't amended yet, but that's fine.
All right, there's another first and a second. Any other discussion from anybody? All right, well, all in favor? All right, all opposed? Great. So, okay. I'll vote and then I'll go ahead and talk. So,
I don't believe that Liz can vote on this news media policy, being as she does currently write for a news media outlet, actually multiple news media outlets, including two local ones. So
you're saying it's like a conflict of interest for her to vote?
I believe so.
Okay. Normally, conflict of interest is
Yeah.
really financial means. I understand that she might be a writer, but that doesn't necessarily disqualify her from being able to vote.
I apologize.
I don't believe there's a conflict of interest that would require her to do so.
Good try now.
All right, so then, I'll vote and then, we'll just speak. So, I'm in favor, but, Joe will, continue to attend meeting. So, that's my, caveat. If I still want him here.
So you mean we have to amend this to include West Valley Town?
No, he'll still be included. I don't think, well, yeah, we can amend it.
His name isn't on here, I mean, his title is.
I can also just invite him. My thing. So, he'll still be here. All right. Moving on. Adopting a water system master plan.
Oh, gosh.
That was a big
Yeah.
packet. But I think we got the amended one.
Yeah, I was talking, I'm sorry, I was talking with Yvonne before the meeting, and it was dated December 2nd, it is the new and improved one. I didn't go through it thoroughly, but previous one had a lot of nitnoy things, of tables that didn't match, and figures that didn't match. Forgot his name already, but he said they were gonna fix all that. I've taken his word that, those were, minor issues. They could be big issues if you're really looking through this and looking for figure 5D, and 5D doesn't exist, but I think they were supposed to fix all that. I just did not go back through and check.
Tim Gross. I did that too. And I could see the changes, like you said, I'm not sure I caught everything, but.
Because there were, there were a lot of things that did not match.
Sounded like it was a formatting issue.
Yeah, that's how he explained it. And
It seemed to be consistent too.
So
Good.
I move that we adopt resolution 2024-AA, a resolution adopting the water master plan for the city of Sheridan, prepared by Civil West Engineering Services Incorporation, dated December 2nd, 2024, which provides basic information and guidance necessary for the sound stewardship of the municipal water system. My March just went crazy, within the water service boundary. Yeah.
second,
Thank you.
Okay. Any discussion? Roxy?
Was there anything that was specifically not included that we knew wasn't gonna be included, or was everything in it that we wanted?
Everything that I've addressed in council in the last 60 days is included.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good enough. Right, Jim?
this is obviously a very, very thorough document, especially if you read through it looking for fine details. But the numbers are a little scary. I don't know how we're supposed to, I didn't add them all up, but we're talking millions and millions of dollars is what they're recommending in changes. And this might be a great plan, but I don't know how we're gonna ever totally work it in with, I'll take a stab at $150 million worth of items that they recommend we update. It's like, we're having enough trouble just making sure how they allocate 1.3 million. They're talking about a lot more money in here, so I mean, it's a good plan. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just very, very expensive. I don't know how the city would ever implement it.
Yeah, and I think they break it down kind of by,
Oh yeah, each project is definitely labeled. Here's how much this will cost. You go, okay, great. Oh crap, there's one right behind it. It's like $28 million. Okay, I get it. I mean, all these things, as you read through, they need to be done. Yeah, there's no problem with that.
And I think part of it is seeing at what,
regardless of funding, they have identified, in my opinion, I said, everything that needs to be identified is taken care of. Ideas.
Yeah, and, from my experience, it seems like, funding water projects, is, not as difficult as funding, other things.
There are, I know there are a lot of grants out there that they want us to have water, which is a good thing.
Kai, did you want to add something?
I just want to add along those lines, Jim, that this is the document you need to get that funding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you already know that. I also want to add the last plan. I don't have the number out of that, but I'm sure it was just as hard to read and look at as this one. I want to say that there was not a lot of work done on the last master plan. The economy had a lot to do with that, but in revenue drop-off significantly with the FCI. But also everything just got older, unfortunately.
I know that Liam said that as they were trying to do this, there was some data that the city couldn't provide them because it wasn't in the last water master plan and we didn't have it just laying around, so they kind of took their best effort to figure out some of these things.
Pre-analog. So.
Well, and also this is just kind of guidance and a plan. We will never get all through this in the next 30, 50 years anyway, but it's a direction and it helps us to set priorities based on the information they've given us. So it's a plan. It's not a directive, but it's something to work towards. Like you say, we need it for our grants.
Council will get a better look at the upcoming projects soon.
Okay.
So.
I believe we had a first and a second. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Okay. All right, next we have resolution 2024 BB. Whoever makes the motion, they can also just read the title. They don't have to read the whole thing. That's up to you, Liz.
Is that my job tonight? Okay. All right.
Would you like to,
What old time say?
You're gonna make her make the motion certifying the election.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment.
I just meant all of them.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, this one's particular.
Sure, why not?
I was not meant to be insensitive.
Make a motion, council approve resolution 2024-BB as presented.
Oh, I could have said it.
Second.
All right, first and second. Any discussion on it?
I just think we had a pretty good voters turnout this go around.
Highest ever. Yeah.
I'm glad.
Really?
I was told.
I'm glad that worked. That was great.
Well, I have a question about this, maybe someone knows. What is undervotes and overvotes?
I believe undervotes is that they didn't vote for 3. So since there was 3 options, they didn't vote for 3. And I think overvotes means they voted for too many.
Cause we had some overvotes.
Yeah.
And quite a few undervotes too.
And I
2,000.
think undervotes count. I think overvotes, I don't know how they decide that.
Okay.
You know, undervotes, if you only vote for 2, those do count. But overvotes, I don't know how they determine which. I don't know. Maybe they don't think they count. Maybe they just don't count it at all.
Well, that's a lot of wasted votes.
All right, Jim, go ahead.
Did you write this or is this just a standard?
Oh, this thing?
Yeah, the actual resolution.
This, I think, resolution.
So I just wondered what the wording of hereby spread on the official records of the city of Sheridan. I don't understand the concept of spreading.
There's some history behind this resolution, Jim, and it's called walkout. And we've been using his format since the beginning of time. So
It probably goes back to Dave Hogberg.
Probably.
I just wondered about that because it seems humorous to me that it's spread on the official records.
Believe in the word canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuck out.
Okay, resolution 2024 CC.
Make motion that council approve resolution 2024 CC as presented.
Second it.
All right, first and second. Any discussion?
I'm not gonna
Resounding silence.
Oh, I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Given the current state of what's going on in City Hall management, would there ever be a time when we would need Tyler to be able to sign a check? Or are we always able to make sure two of these people are available at the same time?
Well, I mean, we could, but 5 is pretty good. I mean, it's, I'm not sure we're gonna have, there'd be probably some scenario I guess we could think of, but I don't know what situation where, you know, 4 of us are gonna be unavailable. And sometimes the checks isn't, it's not like it has to be signed like right now.
Yeah.
But, I would assume since Tyler isn't technically a city employee, we can't do that, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know what the bank's issues might or might not be with that, but I am perfectly comfortable not being a signer.
And we
Does
selected
that make
Angela
sense?
because she is here every day of the week. She works, 5/8, and she has really good attention to detail, as you've seen in her.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a flippant choice to.
Okay, Ian.
Why is Kai not on here?
Public Works has never been there. He's not in the finance department or associated with the administrative side of City Hall. So we've never had a Public Works employee on there.
Okay, I think we have first and second. Any more discussion? All right, go ahead and vote then. All in favor? What's unanimous? Okay. Okay. Resolution 2024 DD. Jim.
I move that we approve resolution 2024 DD as presented.
I second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Jim?
I noticed, and I believe it's just the difference in financial institutions, that 2024 CC has a list of people that are eligible, whereas this one just removes one name and adds another, because they don't care about lists over at Bruce Bedroom.
That's correct. These resolutions are based on what the financial institutions require, and they are all the kings in their own domain.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Or queens, I guess I should say. Royalty.
Any other? Right, well, go ahead and call for a vote then. All in favor? All right, what is the end? Okay. So, that's 2024-EE.
So this came at the request of our contract city planner for the lowest level of land use decisions. They are ministerial approvals, meaning there's no hearings or public input or anything like that. And our code allows the city manager, or directs the city manager as the signing authority. But the code also allows for a designee to be established to exercise that authority. And so with that position being vacant, and Liam had actually mentioned this earlier, but this will allow him to continue to process those type 1 applications while we don't have a city manager. But then once that position is filled, either on a temporary or permanent basis, it's still take some of the workload off of that individual, so. Liam felt like it was a good streamlining of our reviews process.
Jim, and type 1 are the kind of decisions that wouldn't normally become before the city council or maybe the planning commission, is that correct?
That's correct.
Low level.
All right, Ian,
So this is going to give Liam the ability to approve these solely.
It's not taking the authority away from the city manager. Is that what you're asking?
No. Is he going to be the only one reviewing these applications and approving them?
With input from staff.
Got it, thank you.
okay, any other questions? No.
Can you give me an example of something that minor low level?
I agree. I was wondering.
Maybe a variance or something?
Well, how much time would you like me to take?
Just a small example.
Type 1 actions include floodplain development permits, minor home occupations, property line adjustments, sign permits, floodplain variances, major home occupation, manufactured home park, non-conforming use application, partitions, site development review, a request for an interpretation of our code, and partition. I already said partition.
Thank you.
There you go.
Jim, I'd like to say, if there's any concern amongst the council after that, 2-hour presentation that he gave, we know he is very thorough in what he looks at, and he loves his job, so I doubt he would overlook anything on a type 1.
Yeah.
Question on that? Okay, then we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Did we have a motion?
Oops,
No, we did
Jim?
not.
Yeah, I did. Jim
Yeah.
motioned, and I believe,
I second.
yeah. So yes, so that was unanimous.
I think so.
We're okay.
Is that right?
That was on the first federal one. We hadn't actually had the motion yet. I was just
We had,
introduced.
well,
Oh,
I'm doing it backwards then. Okay, who wants to make a motion?
I move to,
Resolution 2024.
yeah, thank you, resolution 2024-E as presented. E.
Okay, first and second, so that was Liz and Roxy, first and second.
And now,
Now we can vote, my bad. Okay, all in favor? Okay, it's still unanimous.
It's
Okay.
a lot of resolutions.
Yeah, you were busy, Tyler.
Yeah. Okay,
I do not get to take credit for this packet. It was a team effort, but Yvonne did an awful lot of the legwork. So she deserves credit. Okay, yeah, I'm up. So we did have a brief memo in our packet regarding this action item, but this is the $225,000 grant that the city was awarded. I don't have the date right in front of me. Oh, in April, we had a motion to sub-award that money to the Untitled Community Action Partnership, and that motion was seconded and passed by the council. We received a significant size check in the mail, and we would like to follow through with what we discussed back in April. So we are requesting a motion approving the transfer of the 2023 State of Oregon Community Shelters Grant Funds in the full amount of $225,000 to YCAP.
do it again. Sort of.
This is just approving the actual transfer, so affecting that.
Okay. All right, Danny?
I make a motion to do that.
I second it.
Okay, first and second, Jim?
In reading through the, doesn't really say attachment, but the grant agreements, I noticed on page that, and sometimes email addresses that die, we never get something that we should have gotten from, in this case, it would be the state, I guess, or YCAP for that matter. So I think that should be at least fixed, change the name.
The grant agreement has already been executed.
Okay, so it's good to go, we're gonna do that, I'm fine with that, as long as having that email address in there isn't gonna cause a problem.
It is being monitored.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. So, any other questions or comments? Okay. All right, then we'll go ahead and vote, all in favor?
Oh, did we already, okay.
Actually, I have a
I didn't know we already did the motion.
question. This funds of being awarded to YCAP program, is that specifically the, that location that was specified before, or is this
The
just
turnkey.
for it?
I believe
Okay.
it's the location
The
there.
turnkey
Right,
hotel.
yeah, project.
That we talked to.
And part of the provision with this is that there will be, is it 2 or 3 beds for Sheridan people? Well, we awarded, we're giving them this money, but we also ensure that we have, was it 2 or 3 beds? 3 beds for Sheridan people, which is a good,
At least,
at least,
I mean,
yeah.
they kind of take over there, they'll set aside basically a room for people from Sheridan and have it for Sheridan. Ian, go ahead.
I'm curious as to whether or not this site was visited by anyone from the city.
Oh, like city staff?
Anyone
Anyone?
from the city?
No, I haven't visited.
Okay, thanks.
I know I talked to, I know we all talked to,
Carrie Martin.
no,
Wasn't it the hotel just before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I know me, Denny and
That's
Liz,
Western.
me, Denny and Liz met with, I think their director over there at least once. And I think they
Yeah,
came here.
Amber Hanson, that's her name. That's who we met with, yeah.
Okay. I guess we technically voted and it was unanimous, so should we vote again, because Ian had a question?
That was a raised hand for a question. If we're still in the voting period, then I will wait until the abstention portion.
Okay, okay, then, yeah, okay, so all in favor? Okay. 5-4, okay, all opposed? Abstaining? Okay. Great. All right, next we have the plan review fee for OHA that, we don't really have a, I think we have a choice. Well, I mean, we do, but we, not really.
In order to get our water system master plan, update, approved by the Oregon Health Authority, we do have to pay their plan review fee of $4,125.
Okay, Jim,
I move to approve the payment in the amount of $4,125 to the Oregon Health Authority for the Water System Master Plan Update Plan Review.
all right, any discussion, Jim?
You already said it, we went through all the problems of getting that whole plan put together. It would be asinine not to pay the state to approve it, because we spent all that money on getting that thing. Let's get it to the state, put their little seal of approval on it, and get it so we can use it.
What, was it $5,000 for the plan and it's working this? Is that somewhere?
The plan was $200,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay.
We gotta have this, and the other rest of it.
Okay, so, first, okay, any other discussion on it? All right, we'll go ahead and vote then, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, okay. Okay, farm lease bids, Tyler, do you wanna talk about it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We did not receive any bids, so we have no bids to review. But what city staff would appreciate is some direction from council about how council would like to proceed. We can repost or.
Reposting would be one way to go, but I would like to trespass the previous user from that property farmed it for 2 years with no side lease. He did just recently pay last year, still no side lease. And that's what we got the sign lease for. Walt agreed to this a long time ago. This handshake stuff doesn't fly anymore in this day and age. And again, this gentleman farmed twice. He just planted another crop there. Tilled, planted, fertilized, and it's growing. It's looking pretty nice. It's annual ryegrass, which is a real good crop. It's good for hay, and the seed's good for more hay, but it's not a hybrid seed like the other properties, or the other property we have, which takes a little bit more to establish.
Yeah, it's interesting that the guy who's farming it did, but, okay.
He farmed it without a lease before, and now he's just doing it again.
So that's, I think maybe we should post that property too, that this is city Sheridan's trust bank.
Well, I think that's fair, especially since he didn't have a bid, and at this point, I don't, well, maybe some of you are more familiar with Fario, but it's December. I don't know if they do anything in December. Maybe they do, I don't know.
They already did it.
Already did,
Yeah,
so it's already
for
done.
the winter until spring.
Okay. So we,
It's too wet to get in there now.
so we basically, so I guess that's kind of what we would need is to say, if we wanna do it, basically no trespassing on it, and then do we wanna reopen, this process like maybe, I don't know, June or July or something, prior to farming season? Lucy, go ahead.
So why don't you do kind of like you did prior, which is, you send them a letter and respond by this time, and if you don't, it'll be interpreted as you no longer farming the property.
That'd be one way.
And then that way you send him a certified letter. If he doesn't respond to you, and put a date on there. And if he doesn't respond to you, then it's over. And if he plants it, well, he's out. And that way, if he does make a bid and nobody else is bidding on it, well, then that's great, because then we still have that property being used and utilized. Payment coming in. But just say, whoever wants to write the letter, it could be you, Tyler, this is our new policy. If you don't have a signed written agreement, it's not gonna continue on.
All right, Denny?
I'm sure he's well aware that there is no lease on it. So do what you want, but this thing's been a mess since it started.
Yeah.
I mean, a total disaster. And it should have never gone as far as it did in the first place. I fought it, tried to get it straightened out. It never happened. I don't know. I think strike three, you're out myself.
Oh, hold on, Jim, I think you were first.
Sorry.
Basically, what we're, at least from my viewpoint, this guy's kind of thumbing his nose at the city. He knows he didn't have a contract, and when challenged on it, he goes, well, I guess I'll pay you some money. But he was, if he had a contract, he was supposed to pay it within 30 days of signing a contract. Didn't have a contract, went out, planted a crop, harvested it, and now he's doing it again. And I think I heard Denny say that this stuff would work well for hay. Let's put no trespassing sign up, and then when it comes time that it can be harvested, open a bid for who wants some hay. But not let him be the bidder, because, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say this, but this is bullshit to have this guy just doing whatever the hell he wants because he thinks he can. I think we need to show him that, no, this is still city property, and you've been basically trespassing for a year and a half now, making money off of it, and we're paying taxes on it. If I understand Yvonne, it's a wash from what he was supposed to be paying as a lessee versus the taxes we paid because it's now being farmed. Is that?
Well, between paying taxes on it because it's no longer, we're making income off of it, and then all your staff time, and your attorney time, and all of those things when you put into it, yes.
But the taxes themselves are, I think, $28.
Yeah, it's probably a lot more of what you're spending on your city attorney
I will say, I don't think we can exclude the person from making a bid. We would just, wouldn't pick it. I just wanted to add that. Liz, go ahead.
So was this the place that was too dangerous to farm?
No.
Nope,
Oh,
that's
okay.
up on, Orchard, the blue square up there, I believe, or is it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's that one.
That's the 14 acre one or 17?
Yeah.
10.
10.
I think I've asked it before, sorry. I'm trying to keep them straight. Alright. So what's the verdict? Write him a letter?
I say write him a letter, you know.
I can also, we could do that, I could just call them and say, you either make a bid, I mean, I guess there's also up to council whether or not they want to accept the bid or not, but it's either make a bid or stop showing up. I mean, because if they're not gonna go through the process, then we can't really do business with them. Ian, go ahead.
I don't understand why we would make a bid with someone who's been, been beyond disrespectful. He's probably violated some kind of law, pouring chemicals onto, probably fertilizers onto our property. There's probably criminal violations that are happening here that we may not even be looking at, who knows? But the point that I'm gonna make is that why would we ever wanna do business with this guy? Why would we send him a letter? He's never sent us a letter. He's farming our property, making money off us, looking at us like we're a bunch of chumps. And do you think that we should send him a letter? That's beyond.
Well, if you're.
That's beyond really what we should be doing. We've already given this guy a chance to offer it. He's had it.
Okay, Lucy, go ahead.
Then why didn't somebody go out there and stop him when it was time to plow fills up? You let him do that, you let him plan it. I think that's very abusive of somebody going in, because it's, and this is an attorney question, but it's almost implied that the city was okay with it because they then went out there and stopped them. If you want somebody to stop farming your property, you go out there when it's harvested and you let them know this isn't gonna go on anymore, but you let them do it anyway. So really, who do you wanna point the finger at? And there's a lot of assuming going on right now in the city council, and instead of just getting written responses, you're just assuming and making decisions on behalf of people who aren't really even given the opportunity to respond. I think you gotta learn from your past mistakes and start putting stuff in writing, give a due date, and have them respond, or then it will be allocated as just saying, you don't want anything else to do with the property. And I would take it, if you went to court, you could probably take that piece of paper and say, here this says, I would imagine you'd send it certified so that he received it, and then just go on from there, and then make your plans from the future from there.
So from what I understand, the city knew that he was going to go forward, but for the response we got, because we told him you have to go out to bid, like you can't just farm it again. From my understanding is we told him you still have to, place a bid, and there's a chance you won't be awarded the bid, and he said, okay, that's fine.
But nobody else made a bid.
Right, so including himself, so it almost sounds like he's fine not getting his crop. Because he basically said, it's fine if I'm not the awarded bid, then I'll lose my crop.
The thing of it is, he's already planted the crop, so nobody else bid, so just take the payment from it and move on, and then next year, don't even tolerate that.
Right, but he didn't even bid for this year though.
Well, why didn't somebody go out there and stop him from plowing it up and putting the crops in?
Well, the city did notify him that, you can't, without a bid, there's no guarantee that you're gonna get this crop back. And he said, okay, that's fine. But he did it anyways. So I think it's odd that he didn't make a bid, because he planted it and knew that, oh, if I don't get the bid, somebody else might get this, but then he didn't even bid himself. So I'm not quite sure what is going on there. But
Well, why don't you just send him a courtesy letter and say, if you don't respond to this, it'll be the city's property and we'll do with it as we choose.
we could, but as far as I know, he was already aware of bids.
I wish the city would start putting things in writing instead of assuming.
We posted a bid, request for bids. He did not submit one. He had more interaction with city staff than anybody else. He was made explicitly aware that we were putting out the request for bids, and he did not submit bids.
And I would think you would want to be careful as far as who you're soliciting bids from, because then if you're sending one guy a letter, say, hey, come and put a bid on it, but you're not sending that same letter to all the farmers, it's kind of might be considered kind of unfair because you're not soliciting at the same level to everybody. You're sending one guy a letter and then opening up for bids for everybody else. So it might be kind of, I understand.
I thought it was a notice. You didn't send letters out to farmers, you just put a notice for a bid. Sorry, Jim, I'm just trying to
I believe it
finish the
is.
conversation.
I believe it is put out as a notice. It's the letters don't go out. I don't.
Right.
Right. It's just a notice, a general notice for people that we are accepting bids, and it's for everybody, and it's open to everybody, anybody who wants to place a bid.
So his only mistake is he didn't respond to the city.
You probably argue he made more than just that mistake, but yeah, that is a mistake. He didn't put a bid in, and I'm not sure why, especially if he's already planted a crop and is actively farming it. I can go. Okay, Jim.
Do you remember the whole process we went through to get these bids squared away last year?
We interviewed them.
Yeah. In November, I believe it was it November? Yeah. Which was a little late for the farmers. Mr. Bryant, who had a lease on the 17-acre property, did the right thing. He needed to get out there and fertilize that crop. He didn't go out there because he didn't have a lease. Meanwhile, Mr. Lepin was like, I don't care. He's out there fertilizing his crop, having a great time, and he had no lease either. But he did eventually pay us some money that took a long time to squeeze it out of him. But we got that, but he still knows he has no lease, and he did it again. How many chances do we give this guy to do the right thing? He knows he doesn't have a lease, and he's out there farming away like nobody's business.
I just make it legal, I just make a legal letter so that it's, everybody's just doing a lot of what you're saying, and put it in writing, and.
Wait, I'm sorry, how is that hearsay?
Because he went out there, I don't know, maybe he was thinking the same thing, you know, here you are, you're trying to be a mind reader for somebody, sit down and talk to the person. This isn't the first time the council's been mind reading, and I think I'd be sitting down talking to these people and finding out, I would just send a letter, I don't need to sit down and talk to them, just send a letter, final notice.
Alright, Ian.
When was the last time you sat down with one of our farmers?
I talked to a lot of farmers.
When was the last time you sat down with one of the farmers who's leasing from us or farmed one of our properties?
I haven't talked to anybody other than the gentleman that came in when they paid the bids.
Okay. So first of all, we did have, I'll remind you that we did actually think that there was a lease there because the city manager that we had at the time told us the check is in the mail, this lease is here, that's what was told to us. So for you to say that this was not being checked up on is not true. And public record of multiple counselors asking questions and saying, please, we would like answers again and again and again, asking for answers and not receiving them. So for you to say that we did not make an attempt to rectify the situation is, I just don't see that as
I just never saw a letter in my packet.
May I finish, please? And also that, I would like to remind you that we are not law enforcement officers, we are legislators. And so, yes, I did not physically go out there and trespass him. I also don't have that authority. And so I couldn't do that even if I wanted to. So I was pursuing the legislative route that I had, and so have the other counselors that are here that have done that. And so, and that's all part of public record, Lucy, so yeah.
I still think it should be put in writing, period. That's the way I do business.
Actually, it is in writing in the minutes, if you want to see it.
I'm talking about a letter to him saying, Mr. what's his name? You guys seem to know him better than I do. This is what we've seen happen. This is what you need to do by this time. If it's not, it's going to be implied, and you can actually do something with it instead of saying, well, you know, we asked, but they didn't, you know, we asked them, but we didn't put it in writing, but we didn't get a reply either. A little bit of wishy-washy on the city of Sheridan's part.
Okay, I don't think this is going anywhere. Why don't we think about this? Is anybody interested in sending this guy a letter?
No, could I say
Okay.
something? I think his privileges should be revoked because of what he's done.
do we need a motion to continue, or do we just need to have a consensus to direct you what to do next?
Either one would suffice.
Okay, should we just have a consensus to direct Tyler to, trespass the current farmer?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like mostly consensus.
Except for me! Yeah!
Okay, Tyler, you can do that. Okay, moving on. Okay, city manager report. So we're gonna use this spot to discuss what next steps will be as far as city manager. We have a few options. One of which is Tyler, I believe, we could have an interim city manager through the COG. That's a service that they provide. I believe Tyler has done or can do that paperwork to initiate that. We can also appoint somebody. It's up to the person we appoint whether or not they want to do it. And we also don't have a timeline on when we'll start the official recruitment or hiring process. I believe the COG can do that for us. So that will be one decision, is if we want to go with the COG or the previous company that did, which I think is Jensen, which has done several cities. I know that, but also the COG has done it. I know the COG did Wall Minus. But I think in the meantime, I think we just need to decide what we want to do in the short term. So we have a city manager, whether that's short-term, interim, through the COG or from someone internally. Jim?
Well, I know that Tyler has been doing his best to keep that chair warm 2 days a week, keep the processes running. I know Yvonne's been working very hard to keep processes running, and one of the processes I always think of is that $1.3 million. But I think we need somebody in that chair that's aware of what's going on in the city. As a result, Kai, I think you've been at least approached about becoming the temporary, not the city manager, but a seat filler until we get someone in that can do that, because of your knowledge of what goes on here in the city. You see a lot of stuff go through, and you know what the projects that we're working on are. And I think working with Yvonne here in the city, if there's something unrelated to public works, that you would be a good choice to fill in at that temporary spot until we find out what the COG is going to do for us. And as an example, we know that Willamina had an issue when Kenna West left, and they had their librarian fill in as city manager until they got things going and got things arranged. So I guess I'd like to ask, would you be willing to fill in for a short while until we get things squared away with the COG or whatever process we're going to use?
I did have a short conversation with Tyler right before council started, and yes, I would accept that position.
Great. I have a clarifying question for you, Jim. Are you thinking that I would be temporary city manager while we secure longer-term interim services from the COG, or?
That's my thought, because COG has a job. We're gonna give it additional stuff by putting him in the city manager slot. So we should be trying to get somebody in here to at least on a temporary basis, because we know how long the process is to obtain a new full-time city manager. If I remember, it was about 4 months. Does that sound fair to everybody? What we maybe longer? Yeah, it takes a long time to get a new full-time city manager. I don't want to toss Kai into that job. Can you handle that for about 6, 7 months, Kai, while we get our act together? That's not probably on your list, right? So I think it would be very interim, see what the COG can do for us to get someone who's qualified to be a city manager in here to at least ensure that the city continues to run, because without a city manager, we're almost dead in the water. So we get something done.
So temporary, and then COG gives us an interim.
That's my suggestion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that sounds, Liz, go ahead.
My concern is what happens to the director of public works if he steps in in the interim as city manager here, that probably, isn't public works short-staffed at this point, or is everybody back on board? Because that causes a problem in another area.
It would if we were short-staffed. We are currently fully staffed.
Oh, everyone's,
Everybody's
everyone's back, okay.
You would just kind of have, well, I'm not an expert, but I think you would just kind of have extra duties for a limited basis, a limited time, I suppose. You would just have two hats.
I don't see me doing either position fully.
Right.
And we, for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, the people here at City Hall and Kai and Gwen have really come together and are making sure that things happen. Everyone is shouldering a little bit extra of the burden. So I wouldn't foresee that Kai is gonna be a 40-hour-a-week city manager only. I think it would be, well, like Kale was saying, an extra hat, but there are a lot of hands to help get him through that.
Hold on, Lucy.
Well, as great as Kai is, and I don't know if this person would consider it, but I think Yvonne has an even more intimate knowledge of what goes on inside the city hall if you were going to be wearing 2 hats in a temporary basis, because I think she's worked even closely affiliated. I know he is very wise in what he does, but she knows a lot of the office and the business technicalities that are going on. And even if they wanted to be, and I don't like using this term, that I think Yvonne is very, well, that's fine. You don't have to be, did it. Anyway, I think she's very qualified to be able to be a fill-in, because she can slip in the saddle a lot easier. I mean, she's already over here. She can even sneak back over and do what she does whenever she's doing her other things, if she would consider it.
Okay, if I talk.
Yeah.
I think, I think that even if Kai does take it, there is going to be, a significant part of that is going to come to me anyways. No offense, Kai, but there's gonna be a lot of this that I'm gonna be doing. Much of this packet, probably 98% of it was done by me. Even the reports that say other people's names on them are pretty much done by me. So I think that's ultimately what's gonna happen, but I think Kai, with his knowledge of the projects, I think Danny is absolutely right, that Public Works is a ginormous piece of the city, and you definitely need somebody who is savvy to all of the, on all of those projects. Me, however, on the administrative side, and what Heidi did as the administrator, that is definitely my forte for these types of things. So it's kind of hard, and so I think I'm all for and I just want to make sure that people understand that even if Kai's put into it, I think I'm going to take a big brunt of it. So
yeah.
That's all I want to say.
Run back to court.
Danny?
So I agree with Yvonne totally. Historically, the Public Works has taken over a city manager spot before. And then when we were without a Public Works director, and we didn't know it for a while, the city manager did both jobs. So it's done. It's been done. It's kind of the way it's done. And again, with the two of them, with all their knowledge on, I mean, he's got to be up on grants and stuff that go through the Public Works. He knows what projects are there. Yvonne knows the paperwork and how to file stuff. She knows who to get a hold of when there's a question that Kai may not know. And so I think they would work very well together. And there's some problems I see. I believe when our city manager left, her policies went with her. So we're running with some policies that aren't in place anymore. One of them is the spending. I've already seen a problem with the spending. People going and spending money that they don't have to have permission for anymore because there's that $50 limit's not in place.
Can I'm so sorry. Can I say something really quick on
Yeah.
that?
Yes, please.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I would like to address that policy. It is my understanding and daily that that policy is in place and ongoing. So if there's something that you're seeing that you feel is out of that, I would love to know exactly what you're talking about, for sure. Because as far as it goes, I'm still getting purchase orders every day. That hasn't changed other than the under $50. But anything 50 and over, I am getting those purchase orders. So if there is an issue, I would really love to know about that, as I'm sure Kai would as well, because he and I work really closely with the POs.
May I ask?
Hold on a second. There was a $2,449 purchase
Do you know who?
last week. You might look at Terry's Tires.
Okay.
Okay, Tim, go ahead. My question for Stacy is, I'm glad to hear that that $50 edict is still in effect presently. Who approves it? I'm not picking on you at all. Are you an approving official, or have you been checked up on the guy, or?
So typically, Kai is the one who is approving most all of the public works spending, any of those purchase orders. Kai's approving those. There is an off every now and then, if Kai's been unavailable or out or something, and it's only happened maybe twice. It's been like a chemical order or something that is a required operating expense, and they have come to me and asked, and I've said, yes, go ahead and put, I said that was okay, proceed, and then get with Sandy when she's in to get that PO number established. I try to not approve anything, but if we are out of supervisors or Kai's out and Sandy's gone, I will give that approval for operating expenses only.
Yes, she does a great job.
Well, I discussed that with you earlier, Stacy, that $3,000. And the city needs chemicals. I think we need chemicals.
Yes.
We can sit on it for 3 days and think about it. We want to make sure we have chemicals to keep our water supply going and our sewer going. So I think that's a good thing. But as long as, I guess about what I'm saying is we need somebody keeping an eye on it. So I think that would go back to the city manager spot if Kai comes in.
Can I add one more quick update on that, just for maybe some peace of mind? The Tyler Tech program, we have the purchase order part of it, or it's like project accounting purchase orders, and we are actually beginning to use those as well as we are reconciling everything else. So like starting now, all jobs will have a job number assigned to them, ran through the program. Kind of talked about that last week. Another thing is the purchase orders will be entered electronically, which then just automatically like emails Kai, emails me, so I know they're approved, and it's all just set up to do that. We're getting ready to get that go live early January, I'd say.
As soon as we're done with payroll.
Yeah, as soon as we're done with payroll. So just so you know, Tyler Tech has those. We will be implementing those, and that is another way that all supervisors, directors, whatever, we all get that information in real time and can see everything happening. So I apologize for the interruption, but I did want to give you an update on those two pieces.
Oh yeah, Liz.
This is a question for Tyler. How, do you know the time frame for COG to bring in an interim city manager? Could it happen quickly?
Yes.
Good, because I really am concerned about pulling people away, but like, Yvonne does more than enough as it is. And then putting more on her plate, and putting more on Kai's plate, just doesn't seem like the optimum situation.
That's kind of the only situation.
I know,
It'll be,
that.
short term, but
Yeah. But that's why I asked the question, how long would that be, like 2 weeks?
Well, at this time of year, probably not. It would be January, probably at least. But we can just start the process and see how we
Yeah,
want
going
it.
as quickly as I can.
All right, Ian.
If
to approve someone, from within the government, which seems like, at least tonight, the best idea to do something. Would that be something that is that something that would then be negotiated like contractually to compensate them for that in some way, or are they just filling this position? Because if that's the concern, I feel like we could right now discuss, hey, look, can we allocate some funds to hiring someone or to whatever. I don't know if that's the concern, but it seems like we're thrusting a workload upon people who are being compensated for it properly, but are now going to not be compensated for it properly. Does that make sense? Or am I being
No, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, basically whoever we, appoint as temp, well, I guess I don't think it would just be trying to be even, I know there's other people doing extra, but I think if you're talking about contractually, I think whoever's appointed temporary would get some sort of bump for compensation.
I would assume.
The other thing I was thinking is maybe we could divvy that up between multiple people, but also is there a potential that we could hire a single person who worked here for years before in the past to provide aid, and would that be something that would be necessary?
Right, Sheridan.
Hey, Roxanne. Roxanne's been here for 17 years. She knows a little bit about everything.
So
Why
I
don't we
guess,
do that?
so filling in what, like in just a certain capacity or for everything?
No, more like an assistant.
An assistant. Okay.
Someone to help carry out a large number of tasks I'm sure he's going to have.
I think that would, the problem with that was that would be probably really short term.
Sure. Sure it is.
So I don't know if we would want
I know a number of folks who
to do that or not, but just because we would have to do paperwork for that. But I guess that is an option too.
As well, we could hire them as say a consultant or something that we can legally hire them as a temporary something. It seems like we have a multitude of people who've worked here for quite a number of years, including our own Ken Hamilton and other folks who know quite a bit about our water system, who could maybe pitch in some way. I don't know. I don't know these people personally. No offense. So, but I know that we have quite a few folks that would definitely step up to that point.
So I think right now, even if Cox uses somebody, I think we need to interview. I don't think we just grab somebody off the street and say, hey, yeah, you're the guy. I think we need to interview. And I think that Kai would yell help if you can't handle it. I need help, or I need something to happen now. I think we should give that a chance, and I think it should start tomorrow, not next week. It should start tomorrow. We need to fill that seat because there's meetings occurring. There's government groups that maybe need to be contacted with the city manager. There's just things that go on that need to be addressed by an acting city manager tomorrow.
We can talk about you, Pat, like you're not here. But so I'll go ahead and ask the question. I agree with exactly what Denny just said. I'm assuming that if you're finding, you're a little beyond your capacity, filling that seat, you'd say, hey, I need some help here, and you let us know, or let Lavon know so she can tell us that we need a little better solution than what we've just tossed you into. Does that sound reasonable to you?
That's accurate. I've been in those positions before. I've been an interim before, city manager. That was planned, however. So this would be a different situation for me. There's a really good team here, honestly. I think we could do it. I think council could select the next interim city manager. We'll buy you that time that you need to do that, and then you can move on to the hiring process. That is my thought moving forward.
Sounds excellent. Thank you. So Tyler, would it be acting city manager or temporary city manager?
You can use both, temporary, acting, interim. I'm not
sure
that the,
We'll get you a name.
Well, I think probably need a motion. Do we want a motion then?
Yes, but before that motion is made, I would propose a motion. And that would be that Kai, pending acceptance, is appointed acting city manager effective immediately, per Danny's point, and directing myself as city attorney to negotiate with Kai about contracting and compensation for that temporary position.
And you can say so moved. You don't have to repeat everything you said. So, Liz.
However, if Kai's acting city manager and Yvonne ends up doing most of the work, I think it should be a co-position so she gets some compensation too, because her workload is going to increase. So I think we really seriously need to consider that her workload will substantially increase. Because she's gonna do all the paperwork and all the things that she does that Kai doesn't know about. And so I think that she needs some compensation as well, so I like the idea of whoever tossed it out there.
I think that,
Of
I agree with
a
you.
co-position, so mainly, so she gets compensated for increased workload.
Right, Ian?
I think that part of the reason why I brought it up was because I think that it's absolutely important that we properly compensate our employees, regardless of whatever they're assigned to do. If they accept to do it, then I think we should properly compensate them, whether they have a title or they don't. And if that means we need to amend that to say that we should give Tyler permission to properly compensate employees during this time, I don't know what we need to say to that point, but I'm saying, I don't care. Maybe we should ask, like, Yvonne, are you even interested in doing this at all? Like, or would you rather
Do you have a
him do it
choice?
and still get the money?
For city
You know?
hall staff, for the
So-
city hall building and all that it entails for everything down to supply ordering and all of the Tyler software stuff now, which is pretty
Tyler
much
Tech.
the Tyler Tech software stuff. All of the implementation of all of that, that's like all on me now. I'm not gonna be able to go to Kai and say, hey, Kai, what do you think? Because that's not his area of expertise. So I would like to have, this area still and I think I'm still gonna be, I pretty much was managing that anyway. There was only 2 people in the building that I wasn't managing, but I just didn't quite understand how that was all gonna happen. I can't really go to Kai for a lot of the things in this building. That's not his area, and I wouldn't expect that from him, and I feel like I'd end up taking that on myself anyway.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
my concern with any type of co-appointment is that it's 2 people who might not agree on how to do something. And I don't anticipate that would be a problem, but I would like to avoid that.
So then, good.
I'm gonna try talking to you. You just use your gavel. I would propose that we appoint Kai as acting city manager and Yvonne as acting assistant city manager. So there's still a hierarchy, but the opportunity to acknowledge the additional work that Yvonne is taking on.
Okay, Lizzie.
So I don't have a problem saying the word co, so anyway, there's that. And if Yvonne is co or a step down from Kai, because it makes me feel better, no offense to you, Kai, then I think that Yvonne should be able to have a temporary assistant, because she's gonna be taking on and making everything look pretty, and she needs to have somebody help her while she's doing that. So I think that would be another nice way to compensate her doing all that. Nice little, can you get me a cup of coffee? And I know that's an exaggeration, but you're catching my drift.
It's okay, Lucy, but in this building, the team up front is amazing. They are amazing support. They're gonna step up to anything, just like I'm gonna help Kai out as much as I can, and I've been trying to help Tyler as much as I can. I really think this staff here has it, they do. I don't know if Kai might need more help, but.
Yvonne, would you like to have an assistant during this time while you're helping Kai?
No, the ladies up front, they're all co-assistants. They're gonna step up. We may end up having, you know, our part-timer come in an extra day of the week or something, you know.
Oh, you do have a part-timer?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So, you know, she may get some extra hours or something just to make up for absence, you know, in a different area, so.
Wait, Jim, Yvonne, in the past, I've already seen you work very closely with the city manager a lot.
Yes.
I mean, even when, you know, she and I were having a meeting, you, oh, I need to, so you were already working in some of that capacity.
Yes.
So I, you know, being the quote assistant city manager, I think a little extra because there's gonna be more stuff to do. When Kai's, sorry, again, not picking at you, trying to figure out what in the world is this, because you've never seen it before. So I think you're gonna be doing a little more, but you're used to working well with the city manager. Kai, you've got a lot of knowledge about what's going on in the city, but there are some things you probably never saw coming. But I think between the two of you, her working in an assistant type role should suffice. And then if we find out if you find out you need more help, that's what we talk about, getting an assistant for the assistant. That's my opinion.
Okay. So, do we want to move?
I make a motion that we appoint Kai Kata, city manager for Sheridan, immediately, and then we appoint Yvonne Hamilton as his assistant immediately, and allow the city attorney to negotiate compensation for the extra work they'll be doing.
I second it.
Okay. First and second, any comments, questions, discussion on that? Okay, all right, all in favor? All right, looks unanimous. Okay, great. Well, in that case, congratulations.
Thanks, I'm sorry for you both.
I am too.
I don't think it's all.
But we're thrilled.
Our best here. You know, I'm nervous, but hopeful. So we'll move forward. We'll meet with staff. Tyler helped the city manager out a lot, and so did Yvonne. So they're obviously going to help me out even more. and we will stack up behind them, as they say. So Public Works will have to do it. You know, there's probably some more things we need to do with the library as well. I think there's a couple departments that need help. So I think we'll all be together and be able to do the job until we have someone in that seat. It's gonna get us through. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Kai.
Thank you,
Mom.
thank you.
Yeah, both of you.
May I just say one thing quickly, please? Kai, thank you for
I don't know, so it hacked the computer?
No, somebody just joined on Zoom and did it.
Oh my.
Oh my.
How do you know that's how that works?
That's how it's been happening.
I've heard
since.
about that kind of stuff happening.
I have too, but it's always been big cities. Oh, it did happen to me.
Oh dear, oh
Okay, then.
dear.
If I wasn't ready before, I am now.
Normally they're auto muted when they join, but.
I thought I had to request to come in.
Yeah, don't they
Yeah.
have to?
Yeah, they have to request it come in, so that didn't happen. Well, unless it did and we just let us the name out there, we didn't know. I don't know.
Oh my
The effort
goodness.
at least.
Alright,
Yvonne, can you record without having Zoom going?
I sure can. I mean, I can just not let, do I start the, I'll just.
I think it's fine to just leave Zoom off, unless we can, I think it's fine to just leave Zoom off for the rest of the season.
But there's a bunch of people.
They were all on there. They probably saw that too.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can just record my phone and somebody.
Like,
My nerves are kind of rattled right now.
I know.
Well, we don't have that much more to go. I've done this.
Luckily, we have someone else recording.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to figure out how to censor that.
This is, yeah.
So I thought you believed in the First Amendment.
I do, but YouTube's gonna flag it. I'm sure they're gonna flag it.
Oh my God.
Maybe it's far enough in the background. I don't know.
Alright.
Like, as I was saying, thank you, Kai, so much for stepping up to this, but as I think we all know, Yvonne runs the city. And without her,
Yeah.
without you, Yvonne, we would be in dire straits, so thank you.
Oh, yeah.
okay, so, do we have any public comment?
We just got one.
That doesn't count.
We've received no other
Okay.
hard comments.
Okay. So, next, mayor council comments, last week, either Thursday, yeah, it was Friday, last Friday, I went and met with Andrea Salinas in her office. She had like an open house thing. I don't know if the counselors got that invite, so I got to talk with her. I mostly talked to Brandon, one of her aides. He came to the Stony Mountain trip. So that was nice. But I did get a chance to talk to Andrea Salinas as well, so that was good. And then Saturday, I know there's a couple other counselors there at the light parade, but I thought that was really nice. The prior year, I didn't actually make it all the way down. I did the judging and then I kind of helped pick up. But this year, I made it all the way down there, and I was really surprised at how many people were around. I thought that was great. So some of the spots I was like, wow, there's a lot of people here. It's kind of like, hometown days parade. Kind of that's what it reminded me of. But I thought it was great. I want to thank Rotary and everybody who was a part of that, because I thought that was a great event for Sheridan. So,
And the great judges.
okay.
The humble judges.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was those are my comments. So moving around, anybody have anything? Lucy?
Whatever happened to those portable showers that were given to the city of Sheridan?
That's a good question. I know White, no. Who was it? Not White.
I was thinking White Cat, that's why I didn't say it.
It's Encompass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were gonna let us use them, but they still own them. I don't know. Actually, we can find out though. I have a feeling they have them. I'm not 100% sure. Kai must know.
Yeah, we have possession of them. They're on the city property.
Okay.
They are?
Where are they?
On city property.
You don't want to say?
They're at the sewer lagoons.
What?
They're at the sewer lift station.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Well, has Provoking Hope wanted to try to tie that in with the building down there? Because they got a big lot sitting right next to them that's empty.
I was told there would be information incoming on where that is going, because I asked, I saw it, and wanted to know what it was, and I was told there would be information incoming, but I didn't get it so far, so I'll probably have to work with staff and reach out.
Because in continuing with that, I've had a couple people, and then I've even had a couple people ask where if they could just have a shower and be clean, there's nowhere to go, and I didn't say anything because I knew we had those showers, and these were actually some people who were kind of, in that position of not having a shower or a toilet, and so I was just kind of wondering what that status was, so it might be more informative next time.
Maybe I could work with Yvonne and see if there was any direction from council prior later.
It's been so long.
was asked of me. And then, Laura Conway, is she still employed by the city?
Yes.
He was here last.
Well, she's employed by the COG.
So she doesn't work for the city, she's just a consultant that comes over and so she's.
We have a contract with the COG.
Yeah, she's part of that.
She's monitoring our grants, isn't that correct?
Our CDBGs.
Yeah,
CDBG grants.
She was here, last week, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, anything else?
No, I was asking if she was still here and if we hired her, and I said, he said, oh no, good question, I'll write it down.
Okay, Denny?
Just so you know, on those showers, there are no toilets, and they're just showers.
No, I know, they just needed a shower. The person I talked to didn't have a toilet either, didn't have a toilet or a shower, said if I could just get cleaned up, and I thought, I'll see what I could do.
Alright, let's.
What's the status of people applying for park posts at Southside Park? Have we had any applications?
Last night I heard there were, but I don't know how long the application period has been open, if it's been open this whole time, or if it was closed, or on, do you know?
On the website, it says open until Thursday.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But we haven't received applications.
We haven't received any.
Okay, and then the next question is, what about, the art, the logo contest, have any come in?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we've got some.
Okay, good.
When does that come? Yeah, so
January
that we have
10th.
I think January 10th.
Yeah. And are you gonna appoint a judging team?
That could probably be the art group just to discuss, because I don't know, because I know Lucy's had several, she had some good recommendations, and I didn't recognize the names, so. I imagine she and you might know some artists who would be good as judges, more than I do. So we maybe, I'll have to look at when the deadline is and everything, but maybe we join,
Meeting's not over.
maybe we join, or have a committee meeting prior to the grant or the application logo.
Deadline?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That would be my thought, and then we could think about.
Okay, thanks. We'll do that.
Okay. Ian, anything? No, okay. Jim?
Okay, there's
Not
Brad.
this time.
Okay. Roxy? Yeah, go ahead. Roxy, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a little spiel I want to say before I go. If everybody else is done. Okay. And I had to write it down because I know I would forget it or who knows what. But I originally planned on addressing the details of council's conduct regarding the loss of our city manager, Heidi Bell, but instead, I'm hoping for this council to proceed carefully with their self-imposed duties of replacing her. The position of city manager is a challenging role, and its duties and responsibilities are enormous, to say the least. The loss of Heidi has brought a tremendous loss of hopes and dreams that were felt by many in this community. I was never opposed to addressing the allegations made by other councilors. I am, however, embarrassed and opposed to the disrespectful attitude that was shown towards Heidi, other council members, and members of the staff. There are different ways of handling situations, and in my opinion, incidents were handled improperly and disregarded council rules of order and decorum. A successful council will cooperate, work with the accepted mistakes pertaining to council conduct, and work together to accomplish the established goals of the city. Heidi hired a proficient staff that is working hard to provide the community needed, the continuity needed to run the city. I want to thank them for their dedication and loyalty. Don't take them for granted. Recently, in open session, Councilman McElroy falsely accused me of having an agenda without being specific. I do not condone or tolerate unfounded accusations and drama. I've never asked for or expected partiality or special treatment. tried to use my position to get ahead for monetary or revengeful means. I've never had an agenda in 17 years. My only intention has been to give back to my community as best as I can. And I want to thank the public for allowing me to be a part of Sheridan's council. I won't be here to take part in the next phase of Sheridan's administrative future, so council, please put aside your desires to get revenge, stop the manipulation of information and distorting of facts, because this is destroying our public faith in our city. Instead, focus on the present issues of our city's operations. You're faced with the difficult task of replacing yet another city manager. I can only hope in the future everyone will be treated fairly and respectfully. No one should expect any less than that. In closing, your actions, whether successes or failures, will follow Sheridan long into our future. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, with that, I think we can adjourn.
I have one.
Oh, okay.
I don't have an agenda. You've accused me of that. You've accused someone else of that. And I think you have an agenda. But it's gone. It's over. So good luck and thanks for being here. 17 years you were. But you've done some things that were pretty out of hand. That's all I got.
That was a shitty thing to say. It sounds
Excuse me, Liz, you didn't get it right.
All right, we're adjourned.
Hey, Kale.
Would you guys like get the letter of your Roxy and the plaque? That
Yeah.
makes him feel like a big little man.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Actually, any council members that would like to be with Roxy and the plaque, I would love to have a photo. And even city staff or
Okay,
attorneys.
I'll
or-
do it.
I mean, she's here
I'll
17
do
years,
it.
so may as well get a group photo as much as we can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
John,
that's nothing against you.
Oh, not at all.
I know that you're.
Janos.
Oh, it was from me though. I was totally against you.
Yeah,
I think you could have done that,
I can go for
John.
John.
Because I know it's gonna be accent on both of you.
I
Yeah,
cannot.
maybe in here or something. Where do you want?
Right in there is fine. Anybody that wants to get together with you or.
Well,
Okay.
I want,
Jim, do you
I
want
want-
to-
Yeah.
You should just have her.
both of you to know.
What?
You want me in your picture? I can.
I want all of you, everybody.
Well, since everybody's coming in, I'll get everybody in.
Big time.
It's about me, it's about us.
Big time? All right, big time?
Would you like in the photo?
Whoa!
You're holding.
All right,
Black.
Everybody laugh at me for knocking stuff over.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Come on in, guys.
Okay.
Well, no, big time, come here. Come here, big time.
Okay.
Right behind Roxanne. Yes, right behind Roxanne.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Please, I know what I'm doing.
All right.
We can do this.
Okay.
We're all invested.
Back to.
All right, everybody, smile. Thank you all. And then if I can get just you two, and I will send you all the stuff.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just thought that was an appropriate place. Nice